Our story begins in the desolate immortal world, within the black sand town gravel desert. A lone lizard on the sun-baked rocks senses a tremor, a disturbance in the silence. Suddenly, the frantic sound of someone fleeing for their life echoes across the wasteland. Hot on their heels is a pack of snarling level 3 desert ghost wolves, their red eyes burning with hunger. A trio of adventurers runs desperately, their cries for help swallowed by the vast desert. The party, a level 3 warrior, cleric, and mage, can't believe their rotten luck, stumbling into a wolf pack while hunting a simple scorpion. Their leader spots a sliver of hope, sandstone trees up ahead that the wolves can't possibly climb. But she knows these creatures are relentless. Once they've chosen their prey, they never give up the chase. Already wounded, and with their gear damaged from a previous battle, a grim thought crosses their minds: is this where they die? And in that moment of despair, their mage loses her footing, her scream of terror signaling the end of the line. Her friends can only scream her name, Xiao He, as the beast closes in. A desert ghost wolf, jaws wide, lunges for the fallen mage. But just as its claws are about to connect, a blur of motion slices through the air. An impossible flash of light and steel erupts, striking the wolf mid-pounce. The creature is sent flying, a massive sword now embedded deep in its neck. It collapses to the ground, its life extinguished in an instant. The pink-haired mage stares in disbelief at the bloodied sword, then looks up. Who just saved her? A mysterious figure in a tattered cloak stands over her, his identity completely hidden. Her mind reels with confusion, but then a system window pops up, revealing her savior's status. Level 1. A level 1 rookie? She looks up to see a young man with cold red eyes, now facing the entire wolf pack alone. He scoffs internally. To him, level 3 monsters are hardly a threat. Enraged by their fallen packmate, the remaining wolves lunge forward. Yezun tightens his grip on the hilt of his sword, ready for them. In a flash, he explodes forward, crackling blue energy swirling at his feet. The beasts leap through the air, jaws wide and claws ready to tear him apart. But a single, crimson arc of his blade cuts through them all in an instant. The onlooking party can only stare, completely dumbfounded by the sight. He stands over the fresh corpses, his silhouette framed by the setting sun. The cleric is sweating, unable to believe he killed 4 wolves with a simple newbie sword. But their shock turns to new horror as the mage points at something just ahead, because what they see isn't just a few more wolves, but dozens upon dozens of them. An entire horde, cresting the hill and flooding the desert plains. The party is frozen in terror, the warrior leader realizing the scent of blood must have drawn them in. The cleric screams at Yezun to run, warning him that a horde this size could destroy an entire rookie village. But Yezun just glances back, almost amused, as a strange green energy envelops him. A system window materializes before him, asking if he'd like to summon skeleton warriors. With his eyes now glowing a vibrant, eerie green, he confirms the command without a second thought. 5 glowing cards shoot out from his hand, scattering across the battlefield. They slam into the sand, erupting into a massive, swirling green summoning circle. And from the depths of the magic seal, a skeletal hand begins to claw its way out. And from the green miasma, not one, but an entire squad of skeleton warriors rises to serve. The desert ghost wolves don't hesitate, surging forward in a ravenous, snarling tide. But Yezun just smirks, a silent challenge in his eyes. Let's see who's really getting torn to pieces. With a unified, chilling shriek, his undead soldiers charge, a wall of bone and steel meeting the horde head-on. The battlefield becomes a blur of green light and black fur as the skeletons carve through the wolves with terrifying ease. A mere 15 minutes later, the chaotic symphony of battle has faded into a grim silence. Yezun casually pulls his blade from the last fallen wolf, not a single scratch on him. The battlefield is littered with corpses as system windows announce his gains. EXP, teeth, hides, and claws. As his skeletons fade, he absorbs the lingering energy from the dead, a swirling vortex of power gathering around him. Peeking from the rocks, the party is speechless. The cleric wondering if she's dreaming he killed them all alone. The pink-haired mage approaches him cautiously, admitting that while she's a mage too, she's never seen a summoning skill like his. Lin Yuan turns, a slight smirk playing on his lips as he asks her whoever said he was a mage. Her eyes widen in stunned silence. If he's not a mage, then what in the world is he? He offers no immediate answer, just a confident, knowing smile. His true power is revealed. He's Lin Yuan, holder of the SSS, Tier Forbidden class, Necromancer. He's a reincarnator, and he remembers it all, starting 3 years ago when a mysterious magic planet appeared next to Earth. Then, 3 months ago, the world was shaken by the launch of a hyper-realistic VR game called Immortal World. Inside the game, humanity learned to fight, gaining classes and leveling up against hordes of monsters. But soon, the The game bled into reality, with some people gaining their in-game abilities, becoming the chosen ones. This new age also birthed a terrifying threat: cultists who brought their dark powers into the real world to kill and terrorize. And those cultists, they brought nothing but chaos and destruction to the real world. Lin Yuan remembers it all too well, because his own parents died in that catastrophe. Humanity gathered its strength for one last stand, but in the end, they were utterly defeated. He too fell in that final hopeless battle, his life snuffed out by the overwhelming power of his enemies. But then, impossibly, he found himself back at the very beginning, reincarnated to the moment he first logged into the game. This time, the system bestowed upon him a unique, forbidden power, the SSS tier necromancer class. With this second chance, his eyes burn with cold fury. He will level up faster than anyone to protect his world. The memory fades, and he's back in the desert, kneeling beside the corpse of a fallen wolf. He reaches a hand out over the dead creature, a new, dark power at his command. A sinister green aura begins to flow from his fingertips, seeping into the lifeless body. A system prompt appears, asking if he wants to use Dark Summon on the field of wolf corpses. He accepts without hesitation, and a malevolent green light ignites in the eyes of the dead. The fallen wolves rise again, reborn as ghost wolf zombies, inheriting their original levels and skills. Not only that, they gain a new skill, Body of Death, making them immune to most debuffs. He then recalls his other unique talent, a personal dimension he can access called Hell's Gate. This gate is his private barracks, a place to store his undead army, and its capacity grows with his level. With a silent command, the massive, chained gates begin to crack open, unleashing a vortex of green energy. His newly created zombie wolves step out from the portal, ready for his command. Surrounded by his loyal undead, he realizes the terrifying potential. He can build an unstoppable army of death. The cleric girl can only stare in horror, demanding to know who this man is that can raise the dead. But Lin Yuan simply glances at the sky, calmly noting that the time is almost here. Suddenly, a world notification blazes across the sky. A world boss, the giant deathwolf, is descending. While the girls are stunned, Lin Yuan just smirks, a predator's glint in his eyes. It's time to kill the boss. Elsewhere in the gravel desert, the sky cracks with crimson lightning as other adventurers look on in horror. The very fabric of reality seems to tear open, bleeding dark, malevolent energy into the world. From the rift, a pair of monstrous, glowing red eyes peer down, paralyzing the players below with sheer terror. They can only scream in panic, confirming that the legendary giant deathwolf has truly arrived. One of them recalls the official guide. The attack range is 50 meters, and the only strategy is to run. A mass exodus begins as every adventurer in the vicinity turns and flees for their life. But it's too late. A shadowy blur rips through the crowd, and the slaughter begins instantly. From the relative safety of some jagged rocks, 2 other players can only watch the massacre unfold. The culprit, a level 6 Lord-grade boss, the giant deathwolf, standing over the bodies of its victims. Elsewhere, a player is held back by his friends, screaming in despair as his brother is torn apart. The hiding adventurers tremble, wondering if a monster of this magnitude can even be killed. But then, their eyes catch movement in the distance, something that makes no sense at all. A lone figure is calmly walking straight toward the world boss. With a tattered cloak and a simple longsword, he approaches the beast with zero hesitation. His crimson eyes burn with an intensity that completely defies the surrounding terror. The onlookers can't believe it. Judging by his gear, he must be a newbie marching to his own funeral. After all, a Lord-grade monster is an immense threat, leagues above the normal mobs players are used to. The sheer scale of the confrontation is absurd, a lone warrior facing a beast the size of a cliff. From their hiding spot, the other adventurers scream at him, convinced he's a madman throwing his life away. But Lin Yuan stands his ground, a solitary figure dwarfed by the snarling maw of the world boss. He looks up at the monster, and a cold thought crosses his mind. This thing is nothing. The beast lets out a furious snarl, enraged by the sheer audacity of this tiny human. It unleashes a deafening howl, a shockwave of pure force meant to shatter bone and will. Lin Yuan simply braces himself, digging his heels into the sand, completely unmoved by the attack. Seeing its intimidation fail, the wolf lunges, activating its death claw to tear him to shreds. Yet as the claws descend, Lin Yuan's expression remains utterly calm, almost bored. Because in his past life, he remembered this boss, and its laughably pathetic stats. For the low-level adventurers in this desert, this boss was an absolute nightmare. He remembers it well. Back then, even with a full party, he'd nearly lost his life. But after countless near-death battles, he's no longer that weak boy, and the claw descends. It smashes into the ground, sending rock and sand flying everywhere but hitting nothing. In a blur of motion, Lin Yuan has already dodged, landing gracefully on the beast's back. The hiding adventurers can't believe their eyes, stunned by his impossible speed. A system warning flashes as the world boss becomes fully enraged, its power spiking. Lin Yuan simply smirks, unfazed. It's about time this got interesting. He slams his hand onto the ground, channeling his true power as a necromancer. A torrent of dark energy erupts from the earth. The real battle is only just beginning. With a single word, he calls forth a colossal structure from the depths of the underworld. The legendary Hell's Gate materializes, dwarfing even the mighty world boss. A smirk plays on Lin Yuan's lips as he gives the order. Go, my army of death. The gates creak open, unleashing a tide of spectral, snarling beasts. The hiding adventurers stare in disbelief. Those are desert ghost wolves, but twisted into undead minions. Lin Yuan knew this was worth the wait. Leveling up had expanded his undead storage to 30. He's also exploiting a key game mechanic. As the stronger target, the boss is locked onto him. But that aggro only holds until his summons make the first move. The undead wolves swarm forward, one leaping directly at the giant beast's face. Forced to react, the boss finally turns its attention away from Lin Yuan, its claws swiping at the new threat. With the boss distracted, Lin Yuan's eyes gleam. This is his moment. Hess about to abuse the aggro mechanic, a high-level play most wouldn't dare. Dashing forward, he perfectly times his strike to intercept the boss's claw. The massive wolf roars in frustration, its attack completely nullified. It spins around, locking its furious gaze back onto the human who dared to intervene. And just like that, with the boss's attention on him, his undead wolves swarm in again. Lin Yuan's strategy is brutal and efficient, a war of attrition. Even if each wolf only does a little damage, 30 of them will tear it down. The other adventurers watch in disbelief, witnessing a Lord-rank boss being toyed with. But they aren't the only ones watching, as a new group emerges with greedy smirks. A few minutes pass, and the relentless assault has taken its toll. With the boss's health whittled down to a mere 500 points, Lin Yuan moves in for the final blow. His sword flashes, landing a devastating critical hit that shreds the beast's remaining life force. The giant deathwolf lets out a final, agonizing howl of defeat. It crashes to the ground, its massive body finally giving out. Lin Yuan stands over the fallen lord, its HP now a pathetic 10 points on the very brink of death. But there's no look of triumph on his face, only a cold, calculating stillness. He hears them before he sees them, the scuttling of rats in the desert. Just as predicted, the scavengers leap from their hiding spots, screaming that his army is gone and the treasure is theirs. But Lin Yuan simply turns, a flicker of annoyance in his glowing red eyes. They have no idea who they just tried to ambush. One of the hiding adventurers, bless his heart, actually screams out a warning, but Lin Yuan doesn't even flinch, his crimson eyes flashing with cold intent. In a single, fluid motion, his sword carves a glowing arc through the air, sending the ambushers flying. They hit the dirt in a heap, their weapons clattering uselessly beside them. He stands over their broken forms, telling them not to overestimate themselves. The onlookers can't believe their eyes. He instantly killed 3 level 3 bandits in one move. With the pests dealt with, Lin Yuan turns his attention back to the barely living boss. He winds up, pouring his energy into one final, decisive strike. The blade connects with a flash, a critical hit that reduces the giant deathwolf's HP to 0. As the boss's body dissolves into a pillar of golden light, he wonders what rewards the first world boss kill will bring. The spoils of victory finally materialize, a silver chest and a shimmering blue crystal. He picks up the crystal, a soul gem, a rare currency for legendary equipment. It's an endgame item, useless for now, but he knows it's a vital long-term investment. After all, in a world where most players struggle with basic iron gear, legendary is a distant dream, and as the first to kill a world boss, the system grants him an exclusive title, Hunter. He smirks, seeing the title provides a flat 10% boost to all his damage stats. With that sorted, he turns his attention to the main prize, popping open the silver chest. The rewards are generous: a silver sword, a rare accessory, potions, and even a skill scroll. A flood of experience points surges through him, instantly boosting him from level 3 to nearly level 4. With his attributes now likely the highest in the entire desert, his plan is proceeding perfectly. But the biggest upgrade is to his core talent, the Underworld Gate. Though his wolves were sacrificed, the level up expanded his gate's capacity to a whopping 40 summons. Now, he turns to the real prize, the system asking if he wants to use dark summoning on the boss's corpse. With a glint in his eye, there's only one possible answer. A surge of dark energy floods the wolf's body as its eyes snap open, now glowing with an unholy green light. It rises, Reborn as his servant, its stats now enhanced with the terrifying power of the undead. Lin Yuan smirks, noting it kept its powerful AoE skills, and even gained a new one, Wrath of the Undead. With this beast, he can now rapidly replenish his entire army inside the underworld gate. The hiding adventurers watch in pure horror, realizing this man who commands the dead is far scarier than any boss. And just as they think this, Lin Yuan's head tilts, a faint sound catching his attention. From the rocks, 3 figures emerge, not to attack, but to ambush. Oh, look at that, he thinks, realizing the other party is still hiding nearby. The failed ambushers even dropped a black iron sword. Not bad for a low-level player, but useless to him. With a firm grip, he decides what to do with the unexpected loot. He starts walking towards the hiding adventurers, who immediately start to panic. Lin Yuan singles out the one who'd been shouting earlier, his gaze locking onto the terrified man. The adventurer breaks into a cold sweat, stammering, completely at a loss for words. But instead of a blade to the throat, Lin Yuan simply holds out the sword's hilt. The man just stares, his mind unable to process this sudden act of kindness. With a casual wave, Lin Yuan leaves him with the weapon, saying it might be of use to him. The other adventurers crowd around, absolutely floored that he was just given a black iron sword. But Lin Yuan is already gone, walking away without a second glance. 10 minutes later, as he travels, a strange feeling jolts through his senses. He's being forcibly disconnected, a red light blinking on his VR helmet. Back in reality, he removes the cheap headset, sighing as he confirms the battery is dead. This only fuels his determination. He has to make money fast to buy a real game pod. He glances at his monitor, where the gateway to the immortal world still glows. It's a hyper-realistic holographic game, with different login regions based on country. Each region contains its own unique kingdoms, from desert empires to frozen wastelands, and even specialized zones like the massive, sprawling tidal island. Back at the character creation screen, Lin Yuan is presented with the choice of his starting zone. He knows that to change his fate, he must make the exact same choice as his past life. Without hesitation, his finger lands on the West Desert ancient country. He's betting everything on a secret he discovered just moments before his previous death. He remembers it vividly, being crushed under rubble, helpless and alone. But in those final moments, a mysterious cloaked figure had appeared. His eyes widened in shock as he recognized the emblem on their cloak. This person was a player, yet they stood at the center of the world-ending calamity. It was a yellow sapphire, the mark of the ancient Western Desert Kingdom's guild. And with his dying breath, he realized the first follower of the demonic war sovereign was a human. That first follower, he recalls, was the key to summoning the evil sovereign to their world. But now he has a chance 3 whole years to find and eliminate this traitor before it's too late. His only lead is the haunting memory of that golden yellow sapphire emblem. To even get close, he has to reach level 10 and enter the main city of the Western Desert. A sudden thought strikes him, a jolt of impossible realization. He looks down at his hand as a shimmering card materializes from thin air. It's a skeleton card. He can't believe he actually summoned an item from the game into reality. He remembers a legend. Certain players could bring their powers into the real world. They were called the Chosen, humanity's last line of defense in his previous life. A confident smirk spreads across his face. His forbidden ability, Soul Reaper, is no ordinary power. A sudden noise breaks his concentration, pulling him back to the present. He glances at the clock on the wall, and a crucial date hits him like a lightning bolt. Suddenly, he's no longer in his room, but sitting at a dinner table with his parents, who look at him in disbelief. With a smile he hasn't worn in years, he presents a meal he cooked himself. His mother nudges his father, urging him to eat, surprised by this rare gesture from their son. But this is a memory, a painful reminder of how people only learn the value of something after it's gone. In his past life, he was an ignorant child, wasting his days away addicted to games. He remembers their worried whispers, their fears that he was destroying his own future. And then the disaster struck, and in a storm of fire and rubble, he lost everything. A single tear escapes as he looks at them, realizing this isn't just a memory, it's a second chance. His mother happily chats about his sister studying for an exam, asking him to bring her some of this fresh food later. She can't believe how delicious the chicken wings are, and his father jokes that she can have them all, stunned that their son can cook. The man stares at the food, a wave of shock and pride washing over him. Lin Yuan looks at them with a warm smile, promising this is only the beginning, and he'll learn to cook many more dishes. His parents are left speechless by this sudden, heartfelt declaration. Overwhelmed with emotion, his mother tears up, finally seeing the son she always hoped for. But this newfound happiness is fragile, and he knows it, pushing his body past its limits until he collapses in exhaustion. He understands that to control the godlike power from the game, His physical body must be strong enough to contain it. Every drop of sweat, every aching muscle is a promise to himself that this time will be different. He checks his time after a sprint. It's a decent start, but for the storm that's coming, it's nowhere near enough. A sharp beep from his watch cuts through the silence. His training time is over. With a determined look, Lin Yuan knows it's time to return to the world that truly matters. He logs in, his form materializing amidst a swirl of data in the desolate brave desert. But before he can even get his bearings, a strange, guttural cry echoes across the sands. A massive, dark swarm rushes towards him, kicking up a storm of dust in its wake. Lin Yuan barely bats an eye, his crimson gaze calmly assessing the incoming threat. A flock of ferocious-looking birds descends upon him, their screeches filling the air. The system flags them as wailing birds, laughably weak level 2 mobs. In a blink, the assault is over, a flurry of feathers and a notification of their demise. He looks on, unimpressed. All that noise for a pathetic 15 experience points. But Lin Yuan remains silent, his gaze fixed on something else entirely. He realizes the scent of the dead birds was a lure, drawing in the real threat. And right on cue, the ground trembles as heavy paws touch down. A whole pack of desert ghost wolves emerges, their red eyes burning with hunger. He watches from the shadows, understanding now that the birds were just bait. Time for a little boost. He pulls out a small vial, popping the cork. He downs the monster essence in one go, preparing for the coming fight. The system confirms the buff, a clean +10 to all of his abilities. He grins, thinking this is the perfect opportunity for a proper warm-up. With a burst of speed, he leaps into the pack, his blade instantly finding its first mark. The wolves lunge, jaws snapping, but Lin Yuan doesn't even flinch. A flash of teal light, and the first beast is already falling apart mid-air. He stomps down, unfazed as the rest of the pack finally realizes who they're dealing with. Surrounded on all sides, he stands at the center of a storm of his own making. He grips his blade, feeling the power surge through it. They've arrived. And just in time, too. A smirk plays on his lips. He unleashes a whirlwind of slashes, a torrent of energy carving through the horde. The system can barely keep up as kill notifications flood his vision. 40 wolves down in an instant, and he's already hit level 5. But the real prize is the field of corpses, now rising as his undead army before Hell's Gate. His status screen confirms it. Level 5, with stats already soaring. After absorbing the monster essence, he's confident he can now fight elite monsters of the same level. But grinding isn't the only goal. It's time to find a certain person. His destination. The remote and dusty outpost known as Black Sand Town. He moves through the streets like a ghost, his face hidden, his purpose clear. Finally, he stops before an unassuming wooden door. This is the place. The door creaks open, revealing a dimly lit, quiet interior. A gruff voice calls out from the shadows, belonging to Kansi, the town's mage instructor. Lin Yuan steps forward, his intention simple. He's come to learn skills. But not just any skills, he's after the legendary immortality skill books, a secret from his past life. Lin Yuan recalls how every class has its own instructor, a gatekeeper to new power. And this man, Kansi, was his very own instructor back when he was a simple novice mage. He explains that his past life as a mage gives him a foundation, but his new Soul Reaper class is a complete unknown. So, he needs to learn the basics again. Spirit flame, healing, and the art of concealment. He tosses over a hefty bag of coins, and Kansi's eyes light up. Money talks, and this is a language he understands. With the payment secured, the instructor is more than happy to oblige. Kansi channels his mana, telling Lin Yuan to do his best for the glory of all mages. A surge of green energy flows into our hero, and 3 new skills instantly unlock. He now has a ranged attack, a healing spell for his summons, and a stealth ability for emergencies. These are just the first steps, but with his new toolkit, he's ready to continue leveling up. His next destination is a treacherous peak east of Black Sand Town, the infamous Black Sand Mountain. He arrives at the entrance of a dark cavern, and a notification confirms his discovery. The Kobold Mine. This place is crawling with level 5 kobolds, cunning wolf-like monsters that hunt in packs of 100. Lin Yuan's eyes gleam with purpose. Their numbers and level are perfect for leveling up his undead army. To counter the darkness, he chugs a night vision potion, granting him sight in the oppressive gloom. With his preparations complete, he summons his undead wolves, their spectral green forms ready for battle. He gives the order to advance, his torch cutting through the darkness as his minions surge forward. The undead army flows into the mine, a silent, disciplined tide of death ready to clear the way. 15 minutes pass as they delve deeper into the winding, shadowy tunnels of the mine. But suddenly, Lin Yuan halts, his senses screaming he's not the only one hunting in these depths. He notes a faint rustling from the cavern's mouth. They're not alone. Suddenly, a fireball screams down from above, forcing him to dodge back. The blast illuminates the path, revealing a horde of creatures lying in wait. From the oppressive darkness, a pair of predatory red eyes snap open. The ambushers reveal themselves a massive pack of snarling, muscular beasts. A system notification confirms it. The level 5 kobold miners have appeared. Their crude mining tools clash against steel as the attack begins. But Lin Yuan's expression remains cold as he gives a simple, deadly command. The kobolds roar, charging forward to meet his undead wolves head-on. The undead wolves tear through the front line as Lin Yuan wades into the chaos. One of his summons activates Smash, sending kobolds flying like ragdolls. He notes their individual strength is pathetic. The real danger is their numbers and tools. But the horde swarms in, trying to overwhelm him with sheer brute force. With a smirk, Lin Yuan simply activates his skill. Vanish. The kobolds swing wildly, their pickaxes finding nothing but empty air. He reappears behind the pack leader, letting the beast know its fatal mistake. A single, sweeping strike cleaves through the entire group in a flash of light. And just like that, the ambush is over, with Lin Yuan standing over the fallen. He smirks, pleased that his art of vanishing skill gained a little experience. But his satisfaction is short-lived, as a new thought crosses his mind. The kobolds rise as his undead servants, but he knows their base attributes are pathetically weak. These new undead kobold mine workers are just too low level. Grinding them up will be a chore. He gives them a new purpose. They will take over the mining duties from his ghost wolves. With his new workforce established, he and a few guards continue their search for the mine's leader. Suddenly, he stops dead in his tracks, sensing something. His eyes land on a peculiar side path, a wall dotted with strange, perfectly round tunnels. An unexpected discovery, and his instincts tell him this is no ordinary cave formation. The air in the side tunnel is still, but those strange holes hint at something lurking within. A smirk plays on Lin Yuan's lips as a wisp of green flame ignites. He's found his prey. With a flick of his wrist, he obliterates a few worthless mudslimes hiding in the muck. But they were just distractions. His gaze locks onto a pair of glowing red eyes in the darkness. Flanked by his new undead kobold guards, he confidently strides toward the true threat. A level 6 elite kobold overseer emerges from the shadows, cracking a vicious whip. The scene shifts, reminding us of the natural order. A wolf, the predator, catches its prey. But even the strongest hunter can be hunted, as a serpent silently stalks the feeding wolf. Because in this world, there is always a greater danger, and the predator can become the prey in an instant. The kobold overseer leaps forward, a blur of muscle and fury, ready to crush its target. But as the dust billows, the scene shifts to a stark reminder that sometimes, the true hunter masterfully disguises themselves as the prey. And in this cave, the real predator's eyes are glowing with absolute confidence. Lin Yuan stands ready, his weapon already humming with dark energy. He lets the beast get just close enough, a smirk playing on his lips. He's got him. With a single, fluid motion, his spiked weapon lashes out, ensnaring the overseer's arm. He yanks hard, slamming the once intimidating elite monster face first into the ground. The overseer can only roar in pain and shock. The beast can only stare up in utter disbelief, its pride shattered in a single move. But Lin Yuan offers no time for recovery, bringing his foot down with crushing finality. A sickening crunch echoes as the elite monster's head simply ceases to exist. With the leader dispatched, he turns his attention to the angry growls echoing from the darkness. And as he scans the shadows, there isn't a shred of fear in his eyes. He's met with a sea of glowing red, an entire army of kobolds pouring out of the cavern. A new overseer cracks its whip, sending the whole pack into a bloodthirsty, buffed-up frenzy. 50 of them? Lin Yuan almost smirks. A decent number, but his own followers are a perfect match. With a surge of green energy, he calls them forth, ready to unleash his undead legion. A wave of his hand summons forth his pack, the desert ghost wolves rising from the shadows. A cruel smile touches his lips as his alpha summon's eye glints with malice. The hunt is on. He points, giving the order, and the giant deathwolf lets out a bone-shaking roar. It crashes into the kobold horde, a blur of shadow and fury that sends bodies flying. This isn't a battle. It's a one-sided slaughter, the Lord-grade beast tearing through them with ease. Gathering its power, the wolf unleashes a demonic howl, a shockwave of pure terror. The entire pack of kobolds freezes, caught in a state of stun and severe bleeding. Lin Yuan's eyes narrow, seeing the perfect opportunity he's created. With a final, chilling command, he sends the rest of his wolves to finish them off. The system chimes with a flood of notifications, confirming the slaughter and a satisfying level up to 6. But for a necromonger, death is merely a resource, and green energy erupts from the corpses. The fallen kobold supervisors rise again, now level 6 elites bound to his will. He immediately puts his new puppets to work, blocking the escape route for any stragglers. The last two kobolds realize they're trapped, but their panic is cut short by a figure in the shadows. Lin Yuan emerges, telling them to ask his sword for permission before they try to run. But just as he cleans up, a massive golden strike crashes down from the cave ceiling. It's the kobold boss, a hulking level 7 monster, roaring as it unleashes a decisive strike. Yet Lin Yuan shows no fear, only a confident smirk. He's been waiting for the true leader to appear. With a nimble sidestep, Lin Yuan baits the boss into a reckless, earth-shattering smash. The massive hammer embeds itself deep into the cavern wall, exactly as he planned. With the beast's weapon stuck, Lin Yuan sees his perfect opening to strike. He leaps forward, channeling all his power into a single, decisive blow. But his blade just scrapes off the boss's hide. Its defenses are far tougher than he anticipated. Enraged, the kobold boss frees its hammer and immediately unleashes a furious counterswing. Lin Yuan's eyes widen in surprise. The recovery speed is completely unexpected. He's forced onto the defensive, narrowly dodging a relentless barrage of attacks. A final, crushing blow sends him flying backwards as the ground beneath him explodes. Landing gracefully, he realizes this boss isn't simple. Its attack patterns are far more complex than any elite. A new strategy forms in his mind. He'll maintain distance and wear it down with constant damage. But why bother with a war of attrition? He summons his entire undead legion, completely surrounding the boss. The kobold doesn't flinch, immediately activating a powerful spinning attack to clear the area. Lin Yuan simply raises his hand, giving the one-word command that seals the monster's fate. Attack. His desert ghost wolves are the first to crash into the boss, a tide of shadowy claws and fangs. Then, the giant deathwolf lets out a deafening roar, activating Undead's wrath to empower the entire army. Glowing with newfound power, his minions tear into the boss, their critical hits landing one after another. He watches calmly, as his perfectly coordinated legion pins the Lord-grade monster in place. With the boss completely overwhelmed, Lin Yuan finally prepares his own spell, Spirit Flame Magic. He unleashes a devastating rain of spectral fire from above, adding his own power to the onslaught. And just as he remembered, the kobold boss's magic resistance is practically non-existent. Roaring in absolute fury, the monster is finally pushed past its breaking point. It swings its colossal hammer with wild abandon, trying to flatten the tiny figure before it. But Lin Yuan simply smirks, activating his skill, vanish, and melting into the shadows. He reappears in the air, his eyes locked onto the single unarmored patch of flesh on its neck. With perfect timing, he dives down, plunging his blade straight into the weak point. The sword sinks deep, a clean and brutal strike right where it hurts the most. A massive critical hit lands, and the beast screams in pure agony. Lin Yuan effortlessly kicks off, creating distance while the boss stumbles back, wounded. With a confident smirk, he beckons it forward, ready for the final dance. But why bother with a one-on-one when you can have an army? With a clench of his fist, Lin Yuan channels his necromantic power. The ground erupts as the giant death wolf rises, now a spectral green behemoth under his command. It lets out a chilling howl, and its entire pack claws its way back from the grave to serve their new master. The kobold boss freezes, realizing its armor is already broken, and it's now facing a tide of death. Perched atop his new mount, Lin Yuan calmly declares that the next strike will be its last. A storm of spectral energy blasts forward, slamming directly into the weakened boss. It can only roar in agony as its life force is torn away. In a final, desperate act, it calls upon its remaining kobold brethren to charge. But Lin Yuan just watches, utterly unimpressed, dismissing their final stand as a pointless struggle. The kobold boss crumbles under the assault, its life fading as kill notifications fill the air. In a final, panicked move, it turns to flee, but a cloaked figure is already there to block its path. Lin Yuan reveals his face, a cold smirk playing on his lips as he questions where the boss thinks it's going. He grips his spectral blade, deciding right then and there that its life is forfeit. With a burst of green energy, he leaps forward, sword poised for a finishing blow. The blade sings through the air, slicing cleanly through the chieftain's neck in a flash of red. Its massive body crashes to the ground, the reign of the kobold chieftain officially over. The system chimes in, confirming the kill and rewarding him with a nice chunk of experience. In fact, the experience is so massive that a cascade of notifications floods his vision, culminating in a level up. He calmly pulls up his status screen, noting his new power at level 7 with quiet satisfaction. He's already planning his next move, reach level 10 and head for the main city. Better yet, his skills have also leveled up, doubling their effectiveness. Just then, a shimmer of light catches his attention. The kobold chieftain's body dissolves, leaving behind a bronze treasure chest. Without hesitation, He reaches out to claim his prize. A golden light flares as the chest begins to open. The loot screen explodes with items: a pouch of gold, a torch, a mask, and a particularly interesting pair of shadow gloves. He can't believe his luck, a silver-grade weapon from a mere bronze chest. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the leader of the Bloodscar Guild stands over a field of slaughter. He boasts about their recent training, easily wiping out 30 wolves, while his brother, the vice leader Huang Feihu, smirks with confidence. Their guild members are quick to sing their praises, completely in awe of their leader's combined might. But Feihu's mood sours, bitterly complaining that if it weren't for that upstart Lin Yuan, they'd already have the world boss kill. And as if the universe itself was mocking him, a system announcement blazes across the sky. The giant wolf has just been killed by Lin Yuan. Feihu absolutely loses it, vowing to crush the lucky scoundrel. But his older brother, Feilong, calmly tells him to cool his head. The guild leader is far more pragmatic, recognizing Lin Yuan's tyrannical strength and suggesting it's better to recruit him than fight him. With that, Feilong decides to scout a nearby Kobold dungeon, ordering the rest of his guild to stay put and recover. Feihu, however, is left stewing in his own resentment, feeling humiliated by his brother's scolding. He makes a dark promise to himself. One day, he'll take Lin Yuan's head and prove to his brother who the truly strong one is. But his brooding is cut short as one of his men tries to get his attention, pointing at something just ahead. Feihu's bitter thoughts are interrupted as he's told to look at something. His eyes narrow, focusing on a lone silhouette moving through the woods. It's a solitary female mage, seemingly an easy, isolated target. A wicked grin spreads across Feihu's face. He's just found the perfect outlet for his rage. They quickly surround her, cutting off any chance of escape. Meanwhile, miles away, Lin Yuan is busy admiring his new level 7 undead kobold chief. His progress is cut short by a panicked voice telling him to stay back. He looks over to see the mage, cornered and desperately trying to fend off her aggressors. Feihu looms over her, mockingly commenting on his luck at finding such a beautiful girl all alone. With a predatory gleam in his eye, he tells her not to worry, she'll just have to entertain them for a while. The cornered mage makes a final stand, warning him that if he comes any closer, she'll attack. Feihu just laughs, effortlessly kicking her staff from her hands. He grabs her by the hair, sneering at the idea that a mere mage could possibly harm them. Pinning her to the ground, he tells her to stop her foolish struggling. Her resistance only seems to fuel his sick excitement, his face twisting into a predatory leer. He raises his fist to strike her down, her eyes squeezed, shut in terror. But the blow is stopped dead in its tracks, a look of pure shock replacing Feihu's grin. An armored gauntlet has intercepted his punch, belonging to an unseen hero. With a sickening crunch, the force of the counter sends the vice captain flying. His guild members can only scream in disbelief as their leader is brutally swatted away. Feihu doesn't just get sent flying, he craters into the ground with bone-shattering force. He's left embedded in the earth, his face a bloody mess, completely taken out in one hit. Lin Yuan calmly examines his gauntlet, noting that the effect was even better than he'd imagined. One of the other guild members panics, realizing he needs to get the captain immediately. The remaining thugs try to posture, warning this stranger he's just made an enemy of the Bloodscar Guild. But their threats are met with a cold, unimpressed stare from Lin Yuan. He knows them all too well, the Bloodscar Guild, the #1 guild in the newbie village. And he also knows they're nothing but a pack of red-named players who thrive on chaos. These are the PKers, the villains who get marked as dangerous for attacking and looting others. And for players like that, death in the game means losing precious levels and hard-earned gear. Lin Yuan's voice is low, confirming their identity. The Bloodscar Guild, he remembers these rats. The remaining thugs turn, completely oblivious to the danger they're in. One of them puffs out his chest, boasting about their guild's reputation in Black Sand Town. He grabs his partner's wrist, a smug grin spreading across his face. They have a brilliant idea. He should cut off his own arms and kneel like a dog. But Lin Yuan doesn't waste time on words, summoning an axe and lunging forward in a blur. Before they can even process what's happening, a flash of dark energy severs their limbs. He calmly informs them he'll handle the dismemberment himself as their bodies are torn apart. The rescued mage can only stare, utterly speechless at this sudden, overwhelming display of power. One of the thugs is sent flying, embedding himself deep into a solid rock wall. The last remaining thug, Huang Feihu, quickly chugs a health potion. He struggles to his feet, spitting curses, absolutely seething with humiliation. But just then, the cavalry arrives, a warrior radiating pure killing intent, promising certain doom. It's the guildmaster, Huang Feilong, and his men immediately point him toward the lone figure responsible. Lin Yuan doesn't even flinch, turning to face the new threat as the rescued mage watches in terror. The lackeys scream that this is the kid, the the one who just nearly killed their vice master. Huang Feilong hefts his massive battle axe, ready to bring it down, but suddenly, he freezes. He locks eyes with Lin Yuan, and a chilling thought crosses his mind, the rumors of a player with cold, indifferent eyes. He sees the weapon, impossibly sharp, and feels an overwhelming presence. And that suffocating green aura, an unbearable pressure that tells him he's made a terrible mistake. His lackeys, completely oblivious, demand their guildmaster show this kid some real power. But Huang Feilong's mind is racing that aura, that boss-level sword. It all points to one terrifying name, Lin Yuan. He silently curses his men for their monumental stupidity, picking a fight with the one person they should have avoided. Lin Yuan's voice cuts through the tension, coolly asking if He's the leader of the Bloodfilth Guild. The insult stings, and Feilong grips his axe, knowing his guild's dignity can't be compromised. A single drop of sweat rolls down his face. He's resigned himself to a battle he knows is unavoidable. But just as he prepares to move, something slices through the air behind Lin Yuan. The mage he just saved screams out a warning, pointing frantically behind him. It's Huang Feihu, lunging from the shadows with both blades aimed for a killing blow. His face is a mask of pure, vengeful glee, certain his surprise attack will finally end this. Seeing his brother's ambush, Huang Feilong roars, thinking this is the perfect chance to finish him. But in the chaos of their pincer attack, their target simply vanishes into thin air. The guild leader's face contorts in shock. He's swinging his axe at nothing, because Lin Yuan is already behind him, calmly summoning the undead kobold boss to the field. The massive creature lets out a guttural roar, its glowing green eyes fixed on its new target. With one devastating swing of its hammer, it swats Huang Feihu out of the sky, his sneak attack utterly crushed. Before Feilong can even register what happened, a figure appears right in front of him. Lin Yuan's gaze is ice cold as he draws his blade, informing the warrior that his turn has come. All the bravado drains from Feilong's face, replaced by the sheer terror of a man facing his end. And with a flash of brilliant cyan light, Lin Yuan unleashes his own merciless assault. The battle is over as quickly as it began, leaving Lin Yuan standing over the guild leader's broken body. He scoffs, thinking to himself that a guild this weak didn't even qualify to be taken seriously. A system warning flashes, notifying him that he's gained 2 sin points for killing another player. But this is nothing to him. He knows the points will vanish in a week, as long as he behaves. Nearby, the mage he rescued spots the last of the Bloodscar members fleeing over the dunes. Lin Yuan coolly dismisses them, telling her there's no need to chase after such insignificant insects. He calmly walks over to the other brother's body as it pixelates into nothing, leaving behind his loot. A silver axe, twin blades, and a dagger. Not bad, he muses. They'll fetch a decent price. Just as he finishes his assessment, he hears a soft step behind him. The mage approaches, her eyes full of gratitude, and asks for the name of the man who saved her. He pauses, his face shadowed, and considers her question for a moment. But he doesn't give her a name, he gives her a prophecy, a promise that she'll one day see it at the top of the world's rankings. The mage is left utterly speechless, her mind reeling. The top 10? The sheer audacity of his claim is staggering. She desperately calls out, pleading to join him, but he's already turned his back, leaving her behind without a second thought. His path leads him deeper into the desolate, wailing desert, a lone figure against an endless sea of sand. But he's not alone for long, as the ground suddenly erupts in a violent spray of dirt right in front of him. A monstrous wailing thunder scorpion, a level 60 beast, bursts from the sand, ready to strike. Yet, against this overwhelming foe, Lin Yuan shows no fear, drawing his blade with cold, deadly precision. In a flash, he becomes a whirlwind of motion, his strikes a blur of teal energy against the creature's tough carapace. His eyes gleam with focus as he completely overwhelms the high-level monster in a flurry of devastating attacks. The desert becomes a maelstrom of his power, tearing through scorpion after scorpion. After slaughtering 60 of them, a notification confirms his success. He's now level 8. But this grind wasn't random. It all started 2 days ago in a dimly lit hall. A mysterious old alchemist named Emor had approached him, finally meeting the hero he was looking for. This meeting triggered a special quest: gather 100 paralysis herbs from the Wailing Desert. Lin Yuan accepted instantly, a knowing smirk on his face, because he knows what's coming. A special dungeon will soon open, one packed with deadly thunder-based monsters. The demand for thunder resistance potions will explode, their price soaring into the thousands of gold coins. And the reward for completing Emor's quest is the exclusive recipe for that very potion. This is a one-time opportunity, as the alchemist is set to retire forever after this quest is done. And so, with a single tap, Lin Yuan locks in his future fortune. His target: paralysis herbs, guarded by level 60 wailing thunder scorpions. But for him, These monsters are no threat, just a perfect chance to level up his new gathering skill. He gets to work, his proficiency climbing with every herb he plucks from the sand. With the outer edges cleared, he decides to venture a little deeper into the desert. He takes a step, but suddenly stops, feeling a strange vibration from below. The ground begins to tremble violently beneath his feet. A massive, crystalline stinger erupts from the sand, aiming to impale him. But Lin Yuan's reaction is instant, his blade already flashing with a silver-cutting strike. He launches himself into the air, a blur of motion closing in on his ambusher. His eyes narrow, locking onto the massive creature before him. The system blares a warning. A mutated crystal demon thunder scorpion has appeared. A quick scan confirms it's a level 10 monster, far stronger than anything else in this area. But instead of fear, a confident smirk spreads across Lin Yuan's face. He decides this is the perfect opponent to test his silver-cutting strike for the first time. With a surge of power, he brings his glowing blade down on the beast's head. The attack connects with a deafening screech of metal on crystal. He's perched on its back, realizing its armor has no gaps to penetrate. Before he can react, the boss activates its skill, unleashing a paralyzing thunderstrike. Blinding blue lightning engulfs him, yet he just grins, completely unfazed by the assault. The scorpion follows up with a venomous needle stab from its tail, but Lin Yuan is already in motion, leaping clear of the electrified beast. It whips its massive tail in a devastating arc, trying to swat him out of the air. He lands, realizing this thing is stronger than he expected. He needs a distraction. As the monster charges him down, a new strategy forms in his mind. With a smirk, he decides to even the odds and calls upon his undead forces. A sickly green light erupts as his army of kobolds rises from the shadows. The massive kobold boss leads the charge, smashing into the scorpion for a solid 200 damage. A flicker of annoyance crosses Lin Yuan's face. It wasn't a critical hit. The scorpion roars in fury, unleashing an earth-shattering claw attack that sends his minions flying. But Lin Yuan is far from finished, unleashing a volley of his upgraded soulfire. The ethereal green flames slam directly into the scorpion's tough hide. It's a relentless barrage, each hit chipping away at the monster's health. With a confident smirk, he decides it's time to add another layer to his assault. Inky black tendrils erupt from the ground, wrapping around the scorpion's deadly tail. The beast is completely immobilized, roaring in frustration as the kobolds move in. His undead chieftain leaps high into the air, preparing for a devastating overhead strike. And this time, it connects perfectly, a massive critical hit that echoes across the canyon. The scorpion shrieks in agony, its crystalline armor cracking under the immense force. The powerful blow culminates in a ground-shattering explosion of dust and debris. The dust settles, but the scorpion, though heavily damaged, is somehow still standing. Lin Yuan realizes its armor has no weak points. If he can't find a gap, he'll just have to make one. His hunter title kicks in, boosting his power, and with a cold glare, he decides to end this with overwhelming force. A condensed blast of pure dark energy hurtles towards the beast's head. It connects with a sickening crunch, shattering the seemingly impenetrable crystal shell. The scorpion can only let out one last pained shriek as the power tears through its body. With the monster defeated and the XP secured, Lin Yuan's real work begins. He reanimates the corpse, creating a far more terrifying undead version, the Thunder Scorpion Zombie. As the ground begins to tremble from an unseen force, he calmly turns to face the new threat. Now, he stands atop his colossal new summon, ready for whatever dares to challenge him next. The source of the tremors reveals itself, a massive swarm of wailing thunder scorpions, drawn by the battle. But Lin Yuan isn't worried. In fact, a faint smirk crosses his face. What perfect timing. He decides it's time to test out his new pet, commanding it to unleash a crystal thunderstorm. Vicious arcs of lightning erupt from the ground, frying the lesser scorpions and stunning the entire horde. While they're paralyzed, Lin Yuan leaps into the fray, his blade gleaming with cold light. He moves like a phantom through their ranks, his sword finding every single vital point with inhuman precision. One after another, the scorpion's tough crystalline shells are shattered by his relentless assault. With a final, sweeping strike, he finishes off the last of them in a blur of motion. As the dust settles, a cascade of notifications confirms his victory, pushing him all the way to level 10. His status screen updates, reflecting his newfound power and his forbidden necromancer class. Lin Yuan feels a surge of satisfaction, thinking how good it feels to level up twice in one go. The loot is even better, a full set of silver tier gear, more than enough to help his family. He stands over the field of fallen scorpions, his cloak whipping in the desert wind. With the area officially cleared, the system has one more surprise for him. A brilliant golden light envelops him as he receives a rare, gold-tier class skill book. He reaches for the ominous-looking tome, hardly believing what he's seeing. It's Dark Curse, a skill exclusive to his forbidden necromancer class. A small smile plays on his lips. He knows this is a stroke of incredible luck. The book dissolves into pure energy as the system automatically adds the skill to his database. A pillar of light erupts, confirming he has successfully obtained a powerful new ability. And the skill is called Dark Curse, a gold-tier ability that damages enemies and restores his undead. Lin Yuan processes the information, realizing he can heal a staggering 20% of a summon's health. A flicker of immense potential crosses his mind. This is a game-changer for his army's durability. He turns to his Thunder Scorpion zombie, currently sitting at 60% health, the perfect test subject. With a confident smirk, he decides to try it out, unleashing a torrent of restorative energy. The beam of dark magic slams directly into his undead behemoth. A mighty roar echoes as the scorpion's health instantly jumps to 80%. With the test a success, Lin Yuan decides the warm-up is over. It's time to find his first true subordinate. But as he prepares to leave, his cloak suddenly begins to writhe and wrap around him. A shocking realization dawns on him as he wonders if this could possibly be a memory, pulling him out of the game and back to reality. His mother's voice cuts through, telling him his father has hurt his back. He immediately helps his dad to the couch, the man groaning in pain with every step. His mother can't help but scold her husband for trying to fix the air conditioner himself, just to save a few bucks. But his father just shakes his head, reminding her that every penny counts. He dismisses the injury as minor, insisting he'll be fine to work the next day. Watching from the doorway, Lin Yuan feels a familiar ache. He can't stand seeing them struggle like this. And so, the very next morning arrives. His parents are still sound asleep in their bed, completely unaware. A sudden noise from the living room wakes them, and they wonder what their son could possibly be doing. They walk out to find two men installing a brand new, massive television, a silent testament to Lin Yuan's hard work. The delivery man confirms it's all for them, purchased by their son, leaving his parents utterly stunned. His father clutches his head, unable to process if this is a dream or reality. Meanwhile, Lin Yuan is pushing his physical limits at the gym, preparing his body for what's to come. His intense workout is interrupted by a staff member approaching him on the treadmill. She offers him a VIP package, assuming he's just another regular customer. Without hesitation, he hands over his bank card, his mind on a much bigger plan. He needs his parents and sister to get stronger now, to adapt for the coming immortality stage. The employee is already impressed by his physique, but her jaw drops when she sees his card. It's a premium VIP card, reserved only for those with over 5 million in their bank account. He takes a call, calmly telling his parents it's just prize money and that he'll take care of his sister. The gym employee can only stare at the card, thinking this young man is truly something else. Meanwhile, at Shushui First High School, the final bell rings and students pour out onto the campus. Among them is a lone figure with long blonde hair, Lin Yuan's sister, Lin Tan. She carries a heavy air about her, a stark contrast to the cheerful students around her. Her friends chatter excitedly, one gushing about how her brother bought her a birthday cake, making the others jealous. But Lin Tan scoffs internally. What's so great about having a brother? All she remembers is him glued to his game, completely ignoring her existence. With a bitter thought, she decides she doesn't want a brother at all. But her solitary walk is interrupted by a condescending voice calling the school beauty arrogant. A group of delinquents blocks her path, their leader smirking that since she ignored their invitations, they'd come in person. Unfazed, Lin Tan glares at the delinquents and asks them what they want. Her friends rush over, nervously asking who these guys are, but her hardened gaze says it all. The leader leans in with a disgusting smirk, reaching out to touch her. She recoils, slapping his hand away with pure disgust, telling him to get out of her face. Taking a stand, she warns the group that if they don't leave her alone, she's calling the police. But her threat only enrages the leader, who roars that she doesn't deserve any respect. He swings, and the brutal impact sends her flying to the ground as her friends scream her name. Looming over her, he sneers, questioning why she pretends to be so pure. She can only brace herself, crossing her arms as his fist descends for another strike. But the attack is stopped dead in its tracks, a powerful grip seizing the bully's wrist mid-swing. Xiaotan flinches, her eyes widening not in fear, but in pure shock. Her brother, Lin Yuan, has arrived, his eyes burning red as he effortlessly restrains the attacker, his voice dripping with ice. She can only whisper his name, stunned, as he gives the worthless punk a look that promises a world of pain. The bully leader, still clueless, struggles against the iron grip, demanding to know who this nobody is. His friends decide to jump in, shouting about how they're going to break his arm and knock out all his teeth. But Lin Yuan is already in motion, a blur of controlled violence as he smashes an elbow into the first goon's face. The thug is sent flying, completely neutralized before he even knew what hit him. He pivots instantly, meeting the next attacker with a powerful kick straight to the sternum. A sickening crunch echoes as the kick connects, sending blood spraying from the bully's mouth. And with a final, brutal slam, the leader's face meets the pavement. The entire group dismantled in seconds. Lin Yuan stands over the groaning pile of bullies, a silent protector while the other students stare in disbelief. His sister and her friends can only watch, mouths agape, as the thugs finally scramble away in terror. Walking away together, she asks him why he's even at her school. He's supposed to be a shut-in who only plays games. He calmly explains that their dad sprained his back, and mom is busy taking care of him at home. Xiao Tan's shock turns to immediate concern, asking if their father's injury is serious. Lin Yuan reassures her it's nothing major, but an awkward silence falls between them. She realizes with a pang of guilt that it's been ages since they've had a real conversation like this. He just walks on, a quiet, dependable presence she hasn't seen in a very long time. Just then, her friends rush over, calling out to their class president, Xiao Tan. They can't believe this cool, handsome guy is her brother, gushing over how skilled he is, and demanding to know why she never mentioned him. Xiao Tan can hardly believe what she's hearing. Her brother handsome? But her friends are completely smitten, whispering about the cool senior who just showed up. One even nervously approaches him, while Xiao Tan is left wondering when he suddenly got so tall. She's noticing his physique for the first time, realizing that's why he was so strong earlier. Her mind flashes back to the only image she had of him for years, a hooded recluse, lost in his phone. The shut-in gamer who never saw the sun, surrounded by snacks and empty cans. But the person standing before her now feels like a complete stranger, and she can't fathom this sudden change. As her friends wave goodbye to other students, Xiao Tan is still lost in thought. She's trying to connect the dots, to understand who her brother has become. Lin Yuan cuts through her confusion, grabbing her bag and telling her it's time to go home. Blushing, Xiao Tan insists she can walk, mortified at the thought of being carried in public. But before she can protest further, she's suddenly swept off her feet. Lin Yuan simply ignores her, effortlessly hoisting her onto his back. He calmly tells her not to force it when she can't even walk properly. He already noticed the nasty scrape on her ankle from when the bullies pushed her down. Xiao Tan is stunned into silence. How on earth did he even see that? They arrive home just like that, with Lin Yuan announcing their return to their parents, who are, understandably, completely speechless at the sight. After a moment of awkward silence, they simply welcome their children back. Later that evening, Lin Yuan is seen quietly washing the dishes, a sight his family never thought possible. His parents watch from afar, his mother remarking that he's like a completely different person now. She teases Xiao Tan, noting how their sibling bond seems to be back to the way it once was. But Xiao Tan is still wary, quietly wondering if this strange new version of her brother is for real. Lin Yuan finishes up the last of the dishes, his expression as stoic as ever. With his chores done, he announces he's heading back to his room. Xiao Tan watches him go, her brief hope starting to fade as he retreats to his door. She sighs, thinking to herself that he's still just the same old game-addicted geek after all. But just then, a bottle of ointment is placed in front of her, catching her completely off guard. Lin Yuan had come back, telling her to apply it to her ankle after she bathes. He then turns away, instructing her not to bother him unless it's urgent he has games to play. His sister clutches the bottle, her mind racing with this unexpected act of kindness. She sits down, a small, knowing smile finally breaking through her skepticism. Fine, she thinks. No one wanted to go in your room anyway. Meanwhile, Lin Yuan can still hear his parents' voices, prying about his improved relationship with his sister. He sinks into his gaming chair, relieved that the family drama is finally settling down. A confident smirk crosses his face. The real world could wait. He slips on the gaming helmet, ready to return to where he truly belongs. With a thunderous crash, his avatar lands in the middle of Sandbreeze City. His eyes narrow with cold intent as he issues a simple command: find and catch that rat. His cloak whips in the wind as he gazes over the desert city, the hunt officially underway. Barely a moment after arriving, he sees a man get stomped into the pavement. A city guard hauls the poor soul up, snarling that he's going to prison to confess his lies. From the shadows, Lin Yuan watches the city's justice system in action. The guard suddenly pauses, feeling a gaze on him, but a quick scan reveals nothing. As the guard drags the criminal away, Lin Yuan melts back into the alleyways. He knows the patrolmen here are sensitive to high sin values, which take 3 whole days to reset. So, with his current status, it's the perfect time to visit an old friend. His destination is the grandest building in the city, the church. Inside, a priest named Father Lawrence preaches of washing away darkness and purifying the soul. Lin Yuan approaches the holy man, claiming to be from the charity house for the poor. Father Lawrence eyes him with a hint of suspicion. A poor boy from the charity house? But Lin Yuan cuts straight to the point, announcing he's heard of a critical patient and is here to help. With a flicker of hope, the priest agrees to let him see the ailing knight Doug. Inside lies Doug Wayne, a once legendary member of the Scorpion Lions Knights, now wasting away. Lin Yuan remembers him well. In his past life, he struggled just to get a single gold-grade weapon from this man. He steps forward, confidently telling the bedridden knight he's come specifically to treat his poison. Doug weakly looks up, the dark veins of poison creeping across his skin. But then he sees a system notification revealing this supposed savior is only level 10. He scoffs, mocking the boy for being weaker than the city guards. But his words are cut short. The poison suddenly surges, and the legendary knight coughs up a spray of black, corrupted blood. Lin Yuan calmly points out that the poison is already eating away at the knight's organs. He delivers the cold, hard truth. Without his treatment, Doug won't live for more than a month. Spitting defiance, Doug reveals the only cure is in the treacherous muddy clay desert, triggering a gold-level quest. A slight, knowing smirk plays on Lin Yuan's lips as he accepts the challenge without a second thought. We're transported to the desolate desert, a wasteland of mud where monstrous, red-eyed fish lurk. The entire landscape writhes with these creatures, slithering just beneath the murky surface. Unfortunately for another party of adventurers, they're about to learn just how deadly these level 15 elites are. Their blonde-haired leader screams a warning about the monster's sharp teeth, but his team is already in chaos. One of the fish suddenly unleashes a powerful, blindingly fast curse attack from its gills. The blast slams into the party, their screams echoing across the barren wasteland as they're completely overwhelmed. The warrior's desperate cries for help are swallowed by the mud as he's completely surrounded. One of the giant fish has had enough, activating its tailwave leap to finish him off. It lunges forward, a horrifying abyss of teeth ready to swallow the knight whole. With a surge of adrenaline, the warrior raises his sword for one last, defiant stand. But it's no use, the monster's jaws slam shut, plunging him into darkness. In that final, terrifying moment, he knows with absolute certainty that this is the end. But then, a flash of black and red, a cloaked figure appears from nowhere. A firm hand grabs the back of his armor, yanking him out of death's embrace. It's Lin Yuan, his hair now a shocking green, as he casually tosses the warrior aside, telling him not to get in the way. With a cold smirk, he unleashes a torrent of crackling green energy, ready to clear the field. The monster lets out a pained shriek as the unholy energy courses through it. A violent explosion of green light erupts from its body, tearing it apart from the inside. Lin Yuan lands with a soft touch, the residual power swirling at his feet as the warrior stares, dumbfounded. On his knees, the knight gasps for breath, the reality of his survival slowly sinking in. But his relief quickly turns to shock as he looks up at the cloaked figure who saved him. He can only watch in awe as this mysterious hero floats, wreathed in an impossible vortex of power. With a flick of his wrist, Lin Yuan unleashes that power across the battlefield. The entire school of fish monsters screams as the green energy instantly melts them away. Their bodies dissolve and sink into the very ground they stand on, dragged down into nothingness. And Lin Yuan stands alone, a silent god surveying his handiwork as the last few monsters tremble. The warrior's eyes go wide, and he screams a desperate warning for the hero to watch out. Just as he feared, two more of the monstrous fish erupt from the ground right behind Lin Yuan. But our hero doesn't even flinch, casually asking if this is really all they've got. He lands gracefully on the head of one monster, a smirk playing on his lips. With a soft thud, he pins the beast, completely unimpressed by its pathetic ambush. A new weapon materializes in his hand, a brutal battle axe, as he scoffs that scum is scum, no matter how many there are. His cold red eyes narrow, promising a swift and merciless end. With a blur of motion, he unleashes a storm of slashes, tearing through the remaining monsters. The rescued party can only watch, dumbfounded that one man is doing what 8 of them couldn't. But then, the warrior's face drains of color, as he remembers their most dangerous skill. And he was right to be afraid. The fish begin to glow, preparing to unleash their trump card. A massive wave of toxic green energy explodes from the water, engulfing the entire area. But our hero just watches the approaching cloud with a look of mild, almost bored, curiosity. It's the rotted gillfish's group skill, a toxic fog that inflicts confusion and hallucinations on anyone caught inside. He scoffs, remembering this cheap trick from his past life. He certainly won't be falling for it again. With a flick of his wrist, he summons his undead giant wolf, ordering it to use its howl. The beast lets out a piercing cry, and the system confirms the fish are now completely dizzied. But he's not done. He activates a special item, the Awakening Mask, to nullify the toxic fog itself. Now completely immune, he leaps into the fray, his blade gleaming and ready for the slaughter. His giant wolf follows suit, tearing into the helpless, stunned monsters with brutal efficiency. He descends like a reaper, a blur of green energy promising a swift end. His blade flashes, striking a vital point with inhuman precision. He carves through another, a whirlwind of steel and shadow, too fast to be seen. Again and again his attacks land, exploiting every weakness with cold efficiency. The rotted gillfish can only scream as he zips between them, a phantom dealing death. The last one tries to flee, burrowing pathetically into the sand to escape its fate, but Lin Yuan just scoffs at the attempt, summoning a massive battle axe. If it wants to play the role of an insect, he'll be more than happy to squash it. The axe comes down with crushing force, obliterating the ground in a blast of light. The blonde warrior and his companion can only stare, utterly impressed by the raw power on display. But just as the dust settles, the ground begins to churn with a massive mackerel swarm. Lin Yuan doesn't even flinch, simply giving the order to his thunder scorpion zombie. The undead monstrosity gathers power, preparing to unleash its devastating crystal thunder skill. With a blinding flash, a storm of violet energy erupts from its crystalline shell. The attack blankets the entire area, a full-scale bombardment aimed at wiping the swarm out. Shards of pure energy rain down, piercing through the tough scales of the fish monsters. Yet, even after the brutal assault, many of the creatures are still thrashing, wounded but not dead. One of the knights completely panics, thinking the attack failed, and they're about to be overwhelmed. Lin Yuan, meanwhile, casually steps forward and crushes one of the survivors under his boot. He glances back at the others, wondering whoever said his plan was to kill them all in one go. He pulls his hood down, his eyes glinting with cold calculation. This was only phase 1. The knights suddenly realized the scorpion's attack wasn't random. It targeted the female mackerel's stomachs. In the shadows, the uninjured male fish monsters watch their wounded mates, their eyes glowing with a feral light. The mage companion breaks into a cold sweat, his voice trembling as he realizes the horrifying truth. The entire swarm erupts into a cannibalistic frenzy, tearing each other to absolute shreds. A foul purple liquid seeps from the females, a scent that drives the males into a blind, murderous rage. Lin Yuan stands unfazed, explaining he simply used their own biology against them, but just as he speaks, the sand begins to churn violently behind him. A survivor bursts from the ground, its massive jaws wide open, ready to swallow him whole. The beast lunges, but Lin Yuan doesn't even flinch, calmly facing down his own impending doom. The other adventurers finally realize this massive ambusher is a female mackerel. But for Lin Yuan, this is all going exactly according to plan. With a flick of his wrist, he summons his zombie ghost wolves to intercept. The undead pack leaps into action, a blur of green energy and snarling fangs. They swarm the level 15 elite, clawing and biting at its tough scales. But their attacks do nothing, not even leaving a scratch on the roaring beast. That was never the point, though he just needed the monster held in place. With his target immobilized, Lin Yuan closes the distance for the final blow. A single, clean strike with his axe splits the beast wide open, and inside, he finds exactly what he was after. A fortune in valuable mackerel roe, but instead of pocketing his prize, he starts stuffing the valuable roe right back into the monster's mouth. The other adventurers can only watch, completely bewildered by his bizarre actions. He then summons his undead wolf, ordering it to take the fish carcass to a rock out in the open. With a powerful leap, the beast is off, carrying the bait to its designated spot. It lands perfectly, placing the dead monster exactly where Lin Yuan commanded. Now, with the stage set, Lin Yuan unleashes a dark, ominous power from within. A foul, purple miasma begins to seep from the roe, a scent designed to lure them in. And just as planned, the water begins to churn as more of the mackerel swarm emerge. They descend upon the bait in a mindless frenzy, tearing at the carcass and each other. But this chaos was just the appetizer, meant to attract the real predator lurking in the depths. The pheromones work perfectly, turning the swarm against itself in a self-destructive frenzy. Watching from a safe distance, the blonde knight finally understands the horrifyingly brilliant strategy. But for Lin Yuan, this chaos is merely a distraction, and he declares it's not enough. With a surge of green energy, he summons his undead kobold miners for the next phase. He commands his new workforce to approach the incapacitated fish, pickaxes at the ready. With sickening crunches, they begin harvesting a very specific item from the fallen males. The other adventurers can only watch in shock as they recognize the blue poison sacs. Lin Yuan explains that this sac emits a powerful danger signal, a foul scent the fish can't ignore. And just like that, the rest of the swarm flees in a panic-stricken wave. They abandon their poisoned brethren, left paralyzed and completely vulnerable in the water. The other adventurers erupt in cheers, ecstatic that the entire swarm has vanished. But while they celebrate, Lin Yuan walks toward the real prize, the helpless, paralyzed fish. He calmly steps past the strange, pulsating egg sacs left behind on the shore. Removing his mask, he gives a nod to the gear that made this whole poison gas strategy possible. It was an expensive, one-time use item, but for this result, it was absolutely worth the cost. His reward is 1,000 grams of rotting gill fish oil, a rare ingredient for powerful potions. Just as he finishes, he remembers there was one other little treasure he'd forgotten about. From his inventory, he pulls out a small, unassuming red ball. This is the wave tickler's nose, an item that can replicate the exact panic pheromones he just used. He holds the new tool in his hand, already contemplating the chaos it could cause. He can't help but think how some quest rewards are just cruel jokes from the designers. But as he's lost in thought, a nearby warrior whispers to him, absolutely mesmerized by the little red ball. The warrior's eyes light up, gushing over how it moves and glows. Asking if he likes his nose cover, he practically begs Lin Yuan to sell it, promising to pay any price for such a unique treasure. His companions can only look on in embarrassment, apologizing for their friend's eccentric behavior. Seeing no use for it, Lin Yuan simply tosses the trinket over, telling him to take it as a gift. The warrior tries to insist on paying, but Lin Yuan just waves him off. It's not needed. The party is so grateful they see him as a literal angel, while he's just thinking what kind of weirdo pays for this stuff. With that strange encounter over, he finally arrives at his true destination, the city's main church. Inside, he finds the legendary knight, Doug Wayne, and begins to administer the cure he worked so hard to create. The legendary knight jolts awake, shocked as the green curse fades from his chest. He can't believe it, admitting he never expected Lin Yuan to actually succeed as the quest completion notice rings out. And the reward is glorious, the green spirit blade, the very first gold-grade weapon he ever obtained in his past life. While its base stats are decent, he knows the real power lies in its attached skill, the green spirit curse seal. It has a hidden effect. Every third hit unleashes a devastating burst of damage based on the target's spirit. He remembers how this very blade helped him carve a path through the West Desert, becoming an unstoppable force. With the legendary weapon now in his hands far earlier than before, he can't help but feel satisfied. The system also rewards him with a hefty chunk of reputation, enough to move freely within the city. But that's not all. His exceptional performance earned him a bonus reward, increasing his affinity with Doug. The now-healed knight sits up, a thoughtful look on his face, sensing that this mysterious benefactor is different. Doug expresses his profound gratitude, admitting he would have been dead without Lin Yuan's help. As a token of his thanks, the knight insists on giving him a crucial warning. Lin Yuan realizes his high affinity score must have just unlocked a hidden plotline. The warning is dire. Under a blood-red moon, Doug cautions him to stay away from a man named Quincy. Lin Yuan, however, casually drops a bombshell. Quincy is his teacher. The legendary knight is completely stunned, grabbing Lin Yuan in disbelief. But Doug has a revelation of his own, noting that even with a hidden profile, he gets out of bed, his strength returned, and correctly identifies Lin Yuan as a necromancer. Now it's Lin Yuan's turn to be shocked. How could he possibly know a secret even Quincy couldn't see? Doug explains that as a former knight of the Scorpion Tail, he hunted dark professions using a special skill, darkness perception. This unique skill, darkness perception, automatically senses necromancers, and the signal grows stronger with their power. Lin Yuan is taken aback. He never imagined a skill existed specifically to hunt his class. Doug clarifies that the poison had dulled his senses. Only now, fully cured, can he feel the unmistakable presence of the Lord of Darkness. Lord of Darkness? The name means nothing to Lin Yuan, adding another layer of mystery to his own existence. To explain, the old knight begins to recount a legend from a time long forgotten. He speaks of the immortal world and its 5 well-known gods of light, nature, and the elements. But there was always a sixth, a hidden god known as the Lord of Darkness, the strongest of them all. This being was so powerful he acted on whim, unbound by any law or morality. He would gift his most devoted followers a sliver of his tremendous dark power. This gift twisted them, changing their class and creating the very first necromancers, bound to his will. Under the Lord of Darkness's dominion, his followers spread plagues, killing millions in their wake. The dead did not rest, rising as ravenous zombies to unleash even greater disasters upon the world. In response, all nations united to destroy his temples and burn every last record of his existence. The necromancer class itself was branded as forbidden, a cursed power to be hunted down on sight. Doug then reveals his own painful history. He was poisoned by a necromancer, a curse that tortured him for a decade. It all clicks for Lin Yuan. In his past life, he never knew this secret history, and now he understands exactly why his class is marked forbidden. This changes everything. He thought his only problem was a high sin value and finding some clues in the city. But now, with his dark aura detectable, his entire class could be exposed at any moment. He looks to the old knight, asking if there's any way to avoid the scorpion tail knighthood's darkness perception. Doug's reply is grim, unless their leader Quincy helps. But if that man ever learned the truth, he'd kill Lin Yuan without hesitation. The old knight then drops the final, devastating piece of the puzzle. Quincy's wife was murdered by a necromancer. That, he explains, is precisely why he warned Lin Yuan to stay far, far away from the man. With no other options, our protagonist leaves the city, his cloak whipping in the wind as he steps into the vast gravel desert. A system notification confirms his location, but this desperate journey actually began 10 minutes prior, with Doug frantically trying to talk him out of it, asking if he was insane for seeking out a man who lives to shred necromancers. But Lin Yuan's resolve was unshakable. He simply stated that he had no other choice. He knew that carrying this dark aura made him a target everywhere, and this was a problem he had to solve immediately. Back in the present, his thoughts are shattered as a blur of energy slices through the air, aimed right at him. He barely has time to register the ambush, a flicker of surprise flashing across his face. The attack slams into him with incredible force, sending him flying back into the sand as he wonders what just hit him. Lin Yuan braces himself after the impact, realizing this was a calculated player ambush. He looks up, hearing the crunch of dozens of footsteps cresting the nearby sand dune. An entire guild of players stands there, their leader announcing they've been waiting for days to finally catch him. It's the Bloodscar Guild, and one of them sneers that this time, he's brought 30 of his brothers for revenge. The vice leader, Huang Feihu, and his lackeys look down with smug confidence, sure that their numbers guarantee victory. His face twists into a sadistic grin as he promises to enjoy the sound of Lin Yuan's screams. Our hero finds himself completely surrounded, a lone target in a sea of enemies, as a strange buzzing fills the air. A mechanical drone hovers nearby, and a notification confirms the worst. The Bloodscar Guild is now live streaming. Across the world, people on their daily commute get the alert, their eyes lighting up at the promise of some live drama. Playing to the camera, Huang Feihu announces that for today's show, they'll be dismembering someone for their viewers. In offices across the country, workers gather around their monitors, realizing the Bloodscar Guild is at it again. People on the street pull out their phones, wondering who this poor guy is to have 30 players ganging up on him. Some viewers lean in closer, thinking he looks familiar, and what a shame it is for such a handsome face to be wiped out so soon. But Lin Yuan just smirks, his voice dripping with contempt as he calls them lapdogs who are barely a warm-up. Enraged by the disrespect, the guild's commander bellows the order for everyone to attack at once. The entire guild rushes forward, a chaotic swarm of thieves and warriors closing in from all sides. Mages raise their hands, unleashing torrents of crackling blue lightning. Archers knock their arrows, aiming glowing, magically infused tips right at their target. From above, axe wielders and swordsmen leap down, a perfectly coordinated assault to crush him from every angle. But just then, a system notification pops up, giving him a 5-minute window to slaughter them all without penalty. Lin Yuan just scoffs. 15 minutes? That's enough time to kill them all 3 times over. With a single command, his undead army erupts from the ground, a tide of monsters ready to play. He mocks their pathetic lightning spells as one of his kobolds casually smashes the attack apart. Then, he unleashes his prize, the Thunder Scorpion zombie, ordering it to poison the entire guild. The sight of a Lord-grade monster sends their leader into a panic, screaming for a shield formation. His warriors scramble, desperately locking their shields together to form a defensive wall. But their formation is utterly useless, shattering like glass against the undead onslaught. Behind the broken lines, the mages desperately channel their power, enhancing a single spellcaster. Their strongest mage gathers a massive orb of crackling purple energy, their one last hope. With a furious roar, he unleashes the full might of their combined magic, hoping to turn the tide. The massive lightning spell crashes down, engulfing Lin Yuan's entire undead army. From the cliffs above, their archers let loose a volley of arrows to finish the job. But the damage numbers that appear are absolutely pathetic, barely scratching the summons. Meanwhile, the stream viewers are getting bored, with many logging off from the one-sided beatdown. The Bloodscar leaders mock him, boasting that no matter what he summons, they'll cut it down. From within his hood, Lin Yuan lets out a cold, amused chuckle. The guild leader freezes, a sudden dread washing over him as he sees that confident smirk. At that exact moment, the stream chat suddenly explodes with shock and confusion. A brilliant, holy-looking light erupts from the sand right in front of the guild, and from that light emerge 2 new, terrifying figures, unlike any undead they've ever seen. Before they can react, the ground erupts as undead kobolds and robed assassins burst from the sand, dragging the backline mages to their doom. One of the mages turns just in time to see a massive undead kobold swinging a warhammer right at his face. In a flash, the guild's formation is shattered, their members cut down before they can even process the order to retreat. The frontline warriors are swarmed, their armor offering little protection against the sheer ferocity of the undead horde. Huang Feilong and his brother can only watch in absolute horror as their entire guild gets dismantled in seconds. Meanwhile, the stream viewership skyrockets as the chat explodes, mocking the guild and questioning who this newbie really is. The surviving mages scream warnings the wounds are poisoned, they need to cleanse first or healing is useless. But it's too late, as a terrifying wave of green necrotic energy washes over them, silencing their desperate cries. From the back, Lin Yuan calmly directs the slaughter, a cold, satisfied smirk playing on his lips. This wasn't a fight, it was an execution, and he was just getting warmed up. But just as he savors his victory, a blade flashes towards his back, a desperate ambush. Huang Feihu emerges from stealth, his face a mask of disbelief. How could he possibly have known? Lin Yuan scoffs, pointing out only an idiot would try to go invisible on sand, leaving obvious footprints. The rest of the guild is in full rout, screaming that he's too strong as the last of their tanks fall. Watching his guild get wiped out, Huang Feihu's eyes glow with pure, unadulterated rage. He seethes, realizing he put his faith in a bunch of worthless trash. With a roar of fury, he decides if you want something done right, you have to do it yourself. Lin Yuan simply watches the vice leader charge, completely unimpressed by the display. He raises his blade, which begins to hum with a chilling, ethereal power. Then, with a casual swing, he unleashes a torrent of screaming souls right at his attacker. The air chills as the green soul curse manifests a torrent of ghastly, spectral skulls. Huang Feihu is frozen in place, his bravado melting into pure terror as the attack closes in. His mind screams, unable to comprehend what kind of monstrous power this is. But Lin Yuan gives him no time to process, uttering a single, cold command to execute. The curse latches on, and our protagonist plants his feet, the fight already over in his mind. He calmly turns his back, already bored with the man who dared to challenge him. A quiet countdown begins, a final, chilling timer on the vice leader's life. 3. Huang Feihu breaks out in a cold sweat, the horrifying realization dawning on him. 2. And on 1, the curse detonates, blasting him into nothing but dust and regret. With the fodder disposed of, Lin Yuan swaps his weapon, noting this old friend is much better suited for the job. The livestream chat absolutely erupts, realizing the streamer didn't just log off, he was deleted. Back on the battlefield, only one man is left standing amidst the ruin of his guild. Huang Feilong's mind reels in utter disbelief, wondering if this horrifying massacre is even real. It's only been a few days, but the player before him is no longer human. He's a monster. He feels like he's facing a demon from hell, a puppet master pulling the strings of death. Lin Yuan turns, his gaze as cold and sharp as the blade in his hand. All of the guild leader's bravado evaporates, replaced by a pathetic, trembling plea for mercy. But our protagonist simply cleans up the remaining trash, ignoring the leader's desperate cries. With the minions gone, he finally turns his attention to the last man standing. His sword flares with soul-crushing power, promising the man a true taste of despair. With a final, desperate cry, the guild leader is struck down without a shred of mercy. Lin Yuan stands over the last corpse, declaring the battle finally over. But as his crimson eyes scan the area, he notices something is off. A tiny, almost invisible stream bug has been broadcasting his every move. He almost forgot the most important part of the cleanup. Reaching out, his necromantic power begins to harvest the souls of the fallen. With the last traces of his enemies absorbed, the desert is finally quiet. But elsewhere, in a high-tech skyscraper, someone is furious, their feed just went dead. Powerful figures are watching, and one of them recognizes the man who killed the giant wolf. The word is out. He's in the gravel desert, and the mercenary guild has sent an S-class invitation. In a dark, lavish room, a powerful man swirls his wine, his mind fixed on a single name, Lin Yuan. Meanwhile, our protagonist has arrived in Black Gravel Town, seeking out a very specific individual. He finds his target in a storeroom, casting a long shadow as he enters. The man, a renowned but lazy instructor named Kansi, barely stirs, recognizing his visitor with a drunken burp. He immediately dismisses Lin Yuan, slurring that he has enough money and isn't in the mood to teach. But Lin Yuan isn't here for a lesson, and decides it's time to get the man's undivided attention. He cancels his profession hide, revealing his status as a necromancer, a forbidden class. The instructor's cup slips from his grasp, shattering against the stone floor. Kansi's eyes snap wide open, the drunken haze vanishing in an instant of pure shock. A necromancer? The lazy act is gone, and now two powerful figures face each other. the air thick with tension. A grim memory flashes in Kansa's mind as he mutters how many years it's been. Crackling blue energy gathers in his fist, a necromancer. His face contorts with rage, questioning the sheer audacity of one appearing before him. Without another word, he unleashes a devastating blast of crystalline energy. The entire storeroom explodes in a storm of razor-sharp shards. But before he can even register the attack's impact, a hand is already on his face. He can't believe the speed, watching as a dark blur zips past his defenses. In an instant, Lin Yuan is behind him, his blade a silent, deadly promise. With cold steel pressed against his throat, he asks if the instructor is finally ready to talk. All the fight drains from Kansi, who can only stammer, asking what he wants. Defeated, Kansi sighs, offering a hint as payment for his life. He tells the tale of a hero named Quincy, who once fought a legendary necromancer. After a deadly battle, the necromancer fell, but cursed Quincy's wife as she tried to heal him. Her soul was corrupted, her memories erased, turning her into a monster that could never truly die. Quincy could only watch in horror as she transformed into a demonic being. To save her, he had to vanquish her soul himself, a battle that left him broken and unable to even hold a sword. So, Quincy published a mysterious mission, a desperate plea for help. He offered his entire fortune to anyone who could save his wife, and a special treasure for any necromancer who tried. But this was all a trap, a way for Quincy to bait and punish every necromancer he could find. To this day, all 123 adventurers who accepted that quest have never returned. Unfazed by the tragic story, Lin Yuan cuts straight to the point, demanding to hear the mission details. A twisted grin spreads across Quincy's face. He's been waiting for a necromancer to come play with his wife. The quest wife's dead soul pops up, and without a moment's hesitation, Lin Yuan accepts. Quincy offers a hollow good luck, his eyes betraying his malicious intent. He sneers, doubting Lin Yuan will even be able to crawl back with his body intact. The mission takes him to a dark, foreboding castle, the Black Gravel Town Memorial for the Dead. He steps into the echoing, pitch-black halls of the memorial, completely alone, or so it seems, until he pops a night vision potion, his crimson eyes piercing the darkness. With his vision restored, he strides forward, flanked by his undead desert wolves and the massive thunder scorpion. He takes in the scene, realizing this 5-story tomb is where every dead NPC in town is buried, a perfect playground. A guttural roar erupts from the darkness as a zombie lunges forward, but before it can even land a scratch, his massive thunder scorpion impales it with a single, brutal thrust. Lin Yuan isn't surprised. He knows this place is teeming with undead creatures like zombies and ghosts. The first floor is just a playground for weak, level 1 to 3 zombies, barely a threat. The second floor holds slightly more organized skeletons, ranging from level 4 to 6. On the third, you'll find the incorporeal level 7 to 9 ghosts, a bit trickier for most. And waiting on the fourth floor is a hulking, level 10 ghoul, the first real challenge of the memorial. But Lin Yuan has no intention of climbing. He sees a direct portal to his destination. A confident smirk spreads across his face. Time to skip the pleasantries and go straight to the top. With a single leap, he bypasses the lower levels entirely. The air grows cold, the silence of the tomb pressing in. He's arrived. The memorial for the dead, 4th floor. Lin Yuan takes a moment, his senses on high alert. Then he hears a skittering sound from the darkness above, accompanied by dozens of glowing red eyes. Suddenly, the walls come alive as monstrous ghouls activate their wall climb skill. They swarm down with unnatural speed, a tide of claws and fangs. A whole welcoming party of level 10 elites, and Lin Yuan is their only target. But he just smirks, his own power flaring to life as he issues a silent challenge. He unleashes his own legion, and the ghouls are met by the overwhelming force of his undead lords. The Thunder Scorpion zombie charges its tail, unleashing a devastating wave of energy. Its massive stinger sweeps across the battlefield, slamming into the charging ghouls. Lin Yuan himself leaps into the fray, a blur of motion as he carves through the horde. His blade cleaves a ghoul clean in two without even slowing him down. At the same time, his giant deathwolf tears into the enemy ranks, a whirlwind of claws and fury. One last ghoul struggles on the cracked floor, defiant even in defeat. But Lin Yuan casually walks over, noting he'd almost forgotten one, and crushes its skull under his boot. With the last enemy dispatched, a notification confirms his victory. He's reached level 12. He looks over the field of bodies, a little surprised it all ended even faster than he'd expected. It's a shame, he thinks, that his corpse control spell only works on the living, not on undead types like these. But just as he finishes, the very ground beneath him begins to glow with a sinister purple light. His eyes widen in surprise. What is this? An ambush? A trap? Suddenly, violent energy erupts from the floor. a massive pillar of dark power shooting upwards. He barely has time to raise his sword, the force of the blast threatening to overwhelm him instantly. Gritting his teeth, he realizes this is no ordinary dungeon trap. The sheer pressure sends him flying, completely engulfed by the dark energy. He's blasted into a new chamber, a grand hall with an ominous, frog-like statue at its heart. Before he can even get his bearings, a colossal shadow begins to rise from the throne. It's a titan of pure shadow, a monstrous entity looming over him with raw, ancient power. But as he looks up at the towering beast, there's not a hint of fear on Lin Yuan's face. But instead of a shadow titan, he finds a woman bound within a crystalline prison, held by countless chains. He quickly assesses the situation. This was a forced zone change, a deliberate trap. The prisoner is clearly demonic, a powerful entity sealed away for ages. A slow, wicked smile spreads across her face as she whispers that she knew he would come. Then, with a deafening roar, the prison shatters, unleashing her and a torrent of resentful energy. She is the resentful ghost, a level 18 Lord-grade boss, and she's craving fresh blood. So this is the true guardian of the 5th floor. Lin Yuan's own aura shifts in response to the dark energy. With a manic grin, she lunges forward, claws outstretched, promising to tear him to pieces. He meets her charge without flinching, his blade clashing against her dark power in a brilliant explosion. But she's just getting started, activating her skill, Death Bloom, as spectral vines erupt to ensnare him. The thorny vines slam down, but Lin Yuan is already a blur of motion, easily evading the crushing assault. He plants his feet and swings his blade in a brilliant, sweeping arc of pure energy. As his sword slices through the spectral tendrils, he feels a familiar sting, corrosive poison. But this level of attack, it's nothing he hasn't seen before. He grips his sword tighter, a faint smile playing on his lips. An attack like this is completely useless against him. The resentful ghost watches in disbelief, as her ultimate skill is effortlessly shredded to ribbons. Her shock turns to horror as she sees her own dark, poisonous energy being absorbed into his blade. Her power, it's being devoured right before her eyes. A furious, guttural roar rips from her throat as she realizes she's been utterly outplayed. Pushed to her limit, the ghost unleashes a final, desperate skill, a succubus growl that shakes the very foundations of the crypt. The ground trembles as a powerful roar echoes, and stone coffins begin to shudder and crack. With a series of heavy thuds, the lids of the ancient tombs are thrown aside. But Lin Yuan remains unfazed, his sharp eyes watching the chaos unfold with cold calculation. A skeletal hand, glowing with an eerie green light, claws its way out of the darkness. He grips his sword, a flicker of recognition in his eyes as more figures begin to emerge. These aren't just any skeletons, they're the fallen NPCs of Black Graveltown, buried right beneath his feet. And worse, among them are the adventurers who failed this quest before him, their souls now bound to the ghost's will. The horrifying truth dawns on him: she's reviving every corpse in this graveyard. Bones crack and knit back together, bathed in necromantic energy as her new undead army rises. Lin Yuan's eyes narrow. He realizes the resurrected skeletons are just a sideshow. With a surge of his own power, he calls forth his own undead reinforcements. Flanked by his new werewolf minions, he gives them a simple, direct order: block that door. He'll let his own zombie army deal with the real threat while the skeletons are occupied. His minions begin smashing through the stone barrier, revealing a new enemy lurking behind it. But before they engage, Lin Yuan points, ordering them to activate their bloodlust status. A savage growl echoes as their bodies surge with power, weapons glowing with deadly intent. Their eyes flash a furious red, their combat prowess amplified for the coming fight. As the new boss is revealed, Lin Yuan identifies it instantly: the Kobold leader, a crystal thunder scorpion. With a final command to attack, his empowered minions charge forward to clash with the massive beast. But just as his minions engage, the resentful ghost unleashes her own skill, a ground-shattering strike. She slams her power into the earth, expecting to obliterate everything in her path. The entire chamber floor cracks and splinters under the immense force of her attack. But her face twists in shock somehow. Her devastating blow had no effect. And from the shattered ground, it's not rubble that rises, but a forest of spectral vines. This is her true power, the Death Bloom. An attack meant to ensnare and crush her foes. Lin Yuan, however, watches the spectacle unfold with a calm, almost bored expression. The ghost smirks, boasting that as a spirit-type monster, she's immune to all physical attacks. But a chilling grin spreads across Lin Yuan's face as he reveals the fatal flaw she overlooked. They take double magic damage. And with that, he unleashes a torrent of spectral skulls, the perfect counter to her ghostly form. He commands his summon to unleash the Green Soul Curse, a direct assault on her spirit. But the ghost is far quicker than he anticipated. suddenly accelerating and dodging the blast with ease. The curse slams into the far wall, shattering stone and reminding everyone of its raw power. Meanwhile, a new problem arises. As the entombed skeletons begin to break free from their coffins, Lin Yuan realizes his time is running out. He has to end this fight before he's completely overwhelmed. He needs to restrict her movement, and a glint on his finger gives him an idea. Purple lightning crackles around his hand as he channels power into a special piece of equipment. It's the silver-grade paralysis ring, an item with a chance to stun a target for 3 crucial seconds. He closes the distance, unleashing a skill that binds her in place with rings of light. With the ghost trapped, he activates the ring skill, paralyzing toxin, ready to land the decisive blow. The paralysis ring's energy slams directly into the resentful ghost, catching her completely off guard. A system notification confirms it. The target is hit, and the paralyzing toxin is activated. But Lin Yuan isn't waiting around, has already mid-air, unleashing a vicious follow-up attack. The massive arc of soul power crashes down on the immobilized boss. She's thrown back by the sheer force, her own dark energy barely holding against the assault. Lin Yuan lands smoothly amidst the shattered earth, his attack carving a deep scar into the dungeon floor. He takes a moment to assess the aftermath of his devastating strike. A slight smirk plays on his lips. Not bad. The plan is working perfectly. Just as he predicted, the curse had already slowed her down, and now he summons his trump card. The giant deathwolf lets out a deafening howl, and the resentful ghost is stunned once again. With his hair and cloak flaring with power, Lin Yuan knows 5 seconds is all he needs. He becomes a blur of motion, a living storm of sword strikes aimed at the helpless boss. Each slash connects, tearing through her defenses as the damage numbers stack up relentlessly. But this only serves to enrage her, a guttural snarl twisting her face in pure hatred. With a final, desperate roar, she forces her broken body to move, unleashing her own dark power. Lin Yuan's eyes widen slightly. A new skill activates. Corpse explosion. A violent wave of purple energy erupts from the ground around her. The blast expands in an instant, a devastating detonation of raw necromantic force. The dungeon floor is scoured clean, leaving nothing but scorched rock in its wake. But from the lingering smoke, a sinister green miasma begins to rise, twisting and coalescing. Lin Yuan instantly grasps her desperate plan, a corpse explosion meant to collapse the entire tomb. He takes a quick tally, his zombie army is down by 2/3. A steep price to pay. But with the boss kneeling and spent, his eyes harden. It's time to end this. He surges forward, unleashing a final, devastating soul attack wreathed in spectral skulls. The very air shrieks as the overwhelming green energy tears through the chamber. It slams into the resentful ghost, her final scream cut short by the blinding light. System notifications flash one after another, her health bar crashing to 0. It's a kill. His boots touch down softly on the now silent, scorched earth. Looking down at her fallen form, a single thought crosses his mind. Is it finally over? But as the dust settles, he feels a strange, gentle energy gathering around him. From the lingering purple mist, a spectral figure emerges, the true spirit of the ghost, now at peace. With a final, serene smile, she thanks him for his help as her form begins to dissolve. He watches her fade, a wisp of light drifting down from her dissipating soul. It solidifies in his palm, forming a small, unassuming ring, a mission item, a symbol of her love. He stares at it, a little disappointed. Was this single ring really the only reward for such a tough fight? But just then, a dark purple aura flares up, and a mysterious book materializes before him. His eyes snap open wide, completely caught off guard by this unexpected second drop. A sinister, skull-faced grimoire floats in the air, radiating an ancient and powerful energy. He examines the grimoire, realizing it's a skill book for corpse explosion, exclusive to necromancers. A thought crosses his mind, perhaps this rare drop is because the ghost served the Lord of Darkness. Without a second thought, he absorbs the skill, the book dissolving into pure data. A column of brilliant teal light erupts as the gold-grade skill is logged into his system. He can't help but feel a little smug. Though it consumes his zombies, the raw power is a fantastic addition. With his new abilities secured, he returns to Black Graveltown to finally complete his quest. He finds the old man, Quincy, and presents the engagement ring he recovered. The man explains that a freed soul leaves behind its most precious item, his eyes fixed on the ring. With a trembling voice, Quincy asks if his wife passed peacefully, and Lin Yuan assures him she did. The old man clutches the ring, a final, bittersweet connection to the woman he loved. Tears of gratitude stream down Quincy's face as his wife's spirit watches over him, finally at peace. He admits the irony. He never thought a necromancer, a class he despises, would be the one to grant his final wish. With his heart unburdened, Quincy declares it's time to fulfill his side of the promise. He presents a box, which opens to reveal the unique grade helmet, the Dark Crown. Lin Yuan examines the reward, realizing its true value isn't in stats, but in its ability to hide his sin value and necromancer aura. With this, he can finally move freely, no longer fearing the zealous scorpion tail knighthood in the main city. He accepts the item, a quiet and determined yes sealing the deal. A surge of ethereal green energy envelops him as he equips the crown. Power flows through him, the crown settling into place as he feels himself one step closer to the truth he seeks. His eyes are now set on his next destination, the sprawling main city on the horizon. Lin Yuan steps into Sandbreeze City, a chaotic marketplace of shouting recruiters from countless small-time unions. But he knows the real power lies with the top 10, and all these others are just noise. He's hunting for a very specific person, wondering if his target is hiding among one of the major guilds. He dismisses the thought. Trying to join a big union as a newbie would be far too tedious. No, he'll just have to find his own opportunity, blending into the crowd as his sharp eyes scan for a lead. He moves through the city streets, a silent predator weaving through the oblivious masses. And then, he spots him. A flicker of recognition, and his casual stroll gains a sudden, sharp purpose. He stops dead in his tracks, his boot planting firmly on the stone path. A man in a brilliant red cape feels the sudden change in atmosphere, turning with a hint of confusion. Before he can fully process it, the cold steel of a blade rests silently upon his shoulder. The knight's eyes widen in shock, demanding to know the identity of his cloaked ambusher. But as the cold steel lingers, his terror melts away into a strange, breathless relief. His face suddenly explodes with pure, unadulterated joy as he shouts out Lin Yuan's name. Overcome with excitement, the knight completely loses his footing and tumbles to the ground. Lin Yuan can only stare, a bead of sweat on his brow as he finally recognizes this fool. Still on the floor, the knight laughs it off, just happy that the great god Yuan remembers him. But our protagonist's eyes narrow with suspicion. Just how does this man know his name? The knight eagerly explains he saw the whole dungeon raid on that Blood Guild stream. He apparently sifted through thousands of online comments, piecing together every clue, and then spent 2 million to upgrade a facial recognition system just for this moment, practically begging for praise. Lin Yuan is completely baffled. 2 million? Just to find him? The knight just shrugs it off, saying his family's Han Corporation spends way more just to test systems. That name hits Lin Yuan like a lightning bolt. The trillion-dollar tech giant? This man knows too much, and for a dark moment, he wonders if he should just kill him. But the fanboy is lost in his own world, excitedly asking God Yuan to team up for an S-class hunt. He tries to jump to his feet to plead his case, and immediately trips, face-planting on the hard stone floor yet again. Lin Yuan sighs, deciding this fool isn't worth the trouble, and tells him to just leave him alone. As he walks away, the knight concedes that a legend who dismantled the Bloodstain Guild probably doesn't need a team. But then he mentions that the Black Tree Guild's third team will be there scouting for talent. That name stops Lin Yuan cold, his gaze locking onto a leaderboard. The Black Tree Guild now, that's a different story. The knight sighs in defeat, figuring he'll have to try his luck alone. But a sudden voice cuts through his moping, asking when the hunt is. He whips around, his face a mask of disbelief. Did he hear that right? Lin Yuan, his back turned, repeats the question, wanting to know the exact time. Overjoyed, the knight scrambles to his feet, shouting that it's tomorrow at 8 a.m. Lin Yuan cuts him off, telling him to just use his real name. But before they go, he adds, he needs to make some preparations. The knight is completely baffled. Preparations? For what? The scene cuts to a desolate desert outpost, the Vulture Thief Band's campsite, and Lin Yuan's preparations begin with a massive, fiery explosion. Surrounded by his newly risen undead, Lin Yuan senses the Vulture Band's leader is just ahead. He lets out a calm breath, necromantic energy flaring around him. This is just the beginning. The system confirms his new puppets. Level 12 Vulture, Thief Band zombies. With a simple gesture, he points towards the heart of their base. It's time to go. His entire undead legion surges forward, a wave of green death ready to cleanse the den. Inside, the remaining living thieves are thrown into chaos, their hideout breached. They screech in alarm, completely unprepared for this spectral invasion. Lin Yuan raises his hand, giving the final, simple command, charge. His undead army crashes into the thieves, a maelstrom of claws and spectral energy. The thieves retaliate, activating their sickle throw skill, but it's a futile defense. But their pathetic defenses are nothing more than glass to him. The thieves can only stare in disbelief, as their last line of defense shatters. Lin Yuan himself joins the fray, his blade glowing with an emerald light. He carves through their ranks, the system barely keeping up with his kills. One after another, the so-called leaders fall before his overwhelming power. With a final, decisive strike, the last thief is cut down, and silence falls. But as the dust settles, Lin Yuan looks around, a flicker of confusion in his eyes. He realizes the throne is empty, the true leader, the boss, is gone. Just then, a level 18 lord appears from the shadows, activating its backstab skill. But Lin Yuan smirks, activating a trap of his own. Corpse explosion. The vulture lord lunges forward, only to realize he's surrounded by the glowing corpses of his own men. A cold glint in Lin Yuan's eye confirms it. The fool walked right into the trap. A massive wave of emerald energy erupts as the corpse explosion skill detonates. Caught at point-blank range, the lord can only shriek as the blast tears through his defenses. The very ground shatters under the sheer force of the necromantic wave. But Lin Yuan isn't waiting for the smoke to clear. He bursts through, crackling with power. He descends upon the staggered boss, ready to end this personally. His shadow gloves activate, cloaking his fist in a lethal, glowing aura. The boss looks on in stunned disbelief as that fist smashes directly into his face. With a sickening crunch, the once mighty lord is sent hurtling into oblivion. The system confirms the kill, and with a surge of power, Lin Yuan hits level 13. But the real prize is the flood of skill upgrades and experience pouring in. He decides to push his advantage, using a precious skill scroll to power up even further. With the scroll and the recent battle, both his curse and corpse explosion skills have leveled up nicely. His undead army has also swelled, now boasting 130 new soldiers from the fallen thieves. The Vulture Lord itself now stands among them, reborn in his service with impressive stats. But as he inspects his new prize, he notices something. The revived lord has a brand new skill. He recalls the giant deathwolf also gained a new ability, Wraith's Fury, upon its resurrection. A pattern emerges. Reviving lord-grade monsters grants them a powerful bonus skill. Just as this new strategy solidifies, a timer appears. The real hunting campaign begins in 2 hours. With his new power secured, Lin Yuan declares it's time to move out for the main event. He arrives at their rendezvous point, the foreboding withered bloodscale cave. But he's immediately stopped in his tracks, staring in disbelief at his new partner. The blonde knight is shimmering, practically glowing, decked out in a full suit of golden armor. He strikes a pose, proudly announcing he spent 50 gold to have it custom made so he wouldn't be a burden. And with a sudden, ominous crack, the armor's waist joint gives way, and his greaves clatter to the ground around his ankles. Lin Yuan is left completely speechless, staring at the knight standing there in his boxers. He tries to process the absurdity, dryly remarking that it's the first time he has seen such unique segmented armor. The knight, face burning with shame, stammers that the blacksmith assured him this was the latest style. The knight grits his teeth, determined to make this ridiculous armor work. But his resolve lasts all of 2 seconds before he's flailing blindly, screaming for Yuan to save him. Lin Yuan can only stand there as his new partner trips over his own feet and smacks face first right into his back with a loud clang. A small, circular piece of the golden armor even pops loose from the impact. The knight looks up, dazed and confused, wondering what he just hit. Hez met with the towering, shadowy figure of another adventurer Hez bumped into. The man, a level 15 warrior named Zhao Kuei, offers a seemingly friendly smile and asks if he's all right. But the knight's instincts scream danger. This man's smile feels like the glare of a venomous snake. Before he can even process the threat, a hand clamps down hard on his shoulder. Zhao Kuei mockingly suggests the knight should probably take off that ridiculous golden armor. But as he smirks, his eyes drift past the flustered knight and lock onto the cold, piercing gaze of Lin Yuan, standing beside him. The warrior's smile vanishes, replaced by pure irritation. Who does this kid think he is? Just as the tension is about to snap, a loud voice cuts through the air. A new group of adventurers marches up, demanding to know which one of them is Han Qing. Their leader holds up a registration form, showing the face of a familiar blonde swordsman. He glances from the paper to the trio, his eyes scanning for a match. Of course, the one in the eccentric golden armor is impossible to miss. The entire group erupts in laughter, openly mocking the knight's gaudy choice of gear. Oblivious to the mockery, Han Qing cheerfully confirms his identity and tries to introduce his friend to the Black Tree Guild members. But his introduction is cut short by the sharp ring of a drawn sword. The guild member holds his blade forward, sneering that he has no interest in the names of newbies. Lin Yuan remains silent, his expression unreadable, as he takes in the pathetic display of intimidation. Just then, their captain, Zhao Kuei, arrives, chiding his man for being rude to their new friends. The subordinate quickly sheathes his weapon, claiming he was only joking around. Zhao Kuei then warns them not to get ahead of themselves. They should be grateful for his guild's generosity. With the pecking order established, an official with an eye patch steps forward to begin the roll call. The other assembled adventurers are a mix of nervous and excited, hoping to prove themselves in this S-rank hunt. But Lin Yuan's sharp gaze sweeps over them, seeing them for what they are. A bunch of fresh-faced rookies. With the head count complete, Zhao Kui declares it's time to move out, striding confidently toward the cave mouth. He flashes a smug grin, assuring the rookies that even the Grim Reaper steers clear of the Black Tree Guild. His empty words fire up the crowd, who cheer loudly, completely convinced of their safety. Among them, a far too cheery blonde knight tries to get his companion hyped for the adventure. He waves a little red flag at Lin Yuan, excited about some luminous slimes, making our hero wonder if this guy thinks it's a picnic. But Lin Yuan's focus is elsewhere as he gazes into the abyss of the cave entrance. A faint, knowing smirk plays on his lips. He can already smell the thrilling scent of what truly lies ahead. The entire party ventures deep into the melted bloodscale cave, the sheer scale of the cavern dwarfing them. Moments later, they hit a fork in the road, with some adventurers murmuring about the strange lack of monsters. All eyes turn to their captain, waiting for the great Zhao Kui to decide their path forward. With a grim look, Zhao Kui declares that in his opinion, it's best they split up. The crowd immediately panics, questioning the danger of running into an elite monster alone. But one of his guildmates steps in to calm the rabble, revealing a little secret. The adventurers are stunned to hear that Captain Zhao Kui had already scouted the path ahead. He smirks, confirming his morning scout revealed one dangerous path and two very safe ones. So, to balance efficiency, his guild will take the dangerous middle path for the best loot. He looks back at the crowd with a predatory grin, asking what they all think of his generous plan. The adventurers, completely won over, praise the Black Tree Guild's foresight and agree he should command. Cutting through the noise, Lin Yuan simply points, declaring he and his companion will take the left path. Zhao Kui barely glances back, amused, and asks if anyone else wants to go with them. The remaining adventurers start whispering amongst themselves, judging the duo. They figure the stoic one is just hiding a weak level, too embarrassed to show his stats. Zhao Kui smirks, condescendingly noting Lin Yuan's lack of popularity. But to his surprise, the blonde knight immediately agrees to follow, no questions asked. So the two of them head off alone into the dark, foreboding cave entrance. Zhao Kui watches them go, a cruel smile spreading across his face as he scoffs at the ignorant fools. Inside, the path is damp and cold, water dripping ominously from the jagged ceiling. The blonde knight shivers, telling Lin Yuan that the temperature is dropping fast. He adds that he's getting a terrible feeling, like a pair of eyes are locked right onto him. Lin Yuan glances back, completely calm, confirming that yes, something has been waiting for them. The blonde knight starts to panic, stammering that Captain Zhao promised this path was safe. Lin Yuan just smirks, mocking him for actually trusting the man who brought newbies to an S-rank hunt. The knight stares, horrified, asking why he didn't expose Zhao Kui's obvious plan to use them as bait. Instead of answering, Lin Yuan turns his attention to some strange, glowing slimes clinging to the cave wall. He casually reaches out and plucks one from the rock, much to its squealing surprise. The creature instantly transforms into a massive, shrieking wisp, and Lin Yuan finally explains his reasoning. He also wanted to see just how many things were hiding in this cave. And as if on cue, the darkness ahead fills with dozens of glowing red eyes. Proving his point, a horde of level 16 Iron Eater lizards crawls out from the abyss, their stats flashing before him. But Lin Yuan is ready, slamming his staff into the ground to greet them. With a single word, Lin Yuan commands the very earth to burn. A colossal fire dragon erupts from his staff, swallowing the charging lizards in a vortex of flame. Meanwhile, in another tunnel, Zhao Kui's men are already cutting down the monsters that slip through. One of his lackeys shouts for the others to witness his power, carving through a lizard with ease. He reports back to his captain, laughing at how the other adventurers actually bought their lie about scouting. Zhao Kui confirms their plan. Let the others exhaust themselves fighting the horde. Once the battle is nearly over, they'll swoop in to finish the job and reap all the rewards. But his casual display of power attracts the attention of a few lizards from above. He just smirks, mocking their screams, and arrogantly inviting them all to attack him at once. And as they pounce, he unleashes a blinding wave of energy, effortlessly blasting them back. Meanwhile, a hulking figure in a mask declares that scum belong at the bottom of the food chain. Han Qing can only stare in utter disbelief at what Lin Yuan has just unleashed. His newly raised Iron Eater lizard whips its tail, activating an Iron Tail Strike. At the same time, his undead vulture thieves hurl their glowing scimitars through the air. They phase into stealth before reappearing to deliver devastating backstabs from the shadows. She looks out at the carnage, wondering when he possibly could have subdued this entire undead army. This display of power is even more incredible than what she witnessed in the mud swamp. Lin Yuan just gives a slight smile, reminding her that he mentioned he had preparations to make. She realizes with a jolt that he assembled this powerful force in less than a day, as the system confirms 55 kills. With the battle already over, he walks past the corpses, coolly noting his army's decent efficiency. Han Qing is completely starstruck, wondering if she could ever hope to be that strong. But her admiration is cut short when the entire cavern begins to violently shake. Her first instinct is to call out for Lin Yuan. A flicker of panic crosses her face as the tremors intensify. Seeing him occupied, however, she decides she must be useful and investigate on her own. She cautiously follows the source of the rumbling deeper into the darkness. Suddenly, her feet plant firmly as the vibrations cease. She looks up, a sense of unease washing over her as silence falls. In the next instant, a monstrous red tail smashes down right in front of her. The shock of the ambush leaves her frozen, her eyes wide with terror. The enormous fleshy tail looms over Han Qing, dripping with some unknown fluid. Her mind goes blank, unable to process what kind of monster this could possibly be. It whips towards her with incredible speed, and she barely has time to brace for impact. The force sends her flying, her sword clattering away as she screams for help. Before she can even recover, the appendage splits into a vicious pincer. It wraps around her midsection, squeezing the air from her lungs. She's completely helpless, dragged across the stone floor like a rag doll. Trapped in its grip, a single thought crystallizes in her mind. This is the end. But in that final moment, a flash of brilliant teal light slices through the darkness. Lin Yuan appears, effortlessly severing the tail, mocking the beast for daring to act up in his presence. The severed limb explodes in a shower of gore. But there's no time for relief as Lin Yuan grabs Han Qing by her collar. With a powerful heave, he throws her clear of the danger zone. She lands hard, coughing, and desperately tries to warn him about the massive creature. Just then, the entire cavern floor begins to crack and shatter under immense pressure. A look of pure terror washes over Han Qing's face. It's too late. A monstrous iron-eating iguana, a level 20 boss, erupts from the ground with a deafening roar. Han Qing is losing her mind. The mission brief said an elite, not a full-fledged boss monster. Overcome with guilt, she apologizes and offers to hold it off so he can escape. But Lin Yuan just smirks, wondering aloud if this is what she considers a terrifying monster. His eyes glinting red. Lin Yuan calmly claims the beast as his prey, leaving Han Qing utterly baffled. The iron-eating iguana lets out a furious roar, digging its claws into the stone, ready to fight. But Lin Yuan simply leaps forward, sword in hand, promising to finish this quickly as Han Qing watches in disbelief. He commands his undead vulture thieves to attack, sending them swooping down from above. A volley of spinning, spectral sickles slices through the air, aimed directly at the massive boss. But the beast is fast, activating its skill, a powerful iron tail sweep to defend itself. Its armored tail whips around, deflecting the sickles with a deafening clang of metal on scales. This was exactly what Lin Yuan was waiting for. The monster's defense created a perfect opening. Soaring above its head, he unleashes a powerful technique, the Azure Spirit Seal. A storm of spectral skulls slams into the iguana, engulfing it in a massive, concussive blast. Lin Yuan lands smoothly, his spectral sword humming with residual power. But the iron-eating iguana still stands, its armored hide barely even scorched. His eyes narrow in calculation. That powerful attack only resulted in minor burns. Enraged by the assault, the beast lets out a furious, deafening roar. It unleashes its own skill, a devastating toxic sand breath. A massive wave of poisonous energy floods the cavern, aimed right at him. From a distance, Han Qing can only scream out a desperate warning. The toxic blast slams into the ground, engulfing the spot where Lin Yuan stood. But he's already moved, dodging the attack with lightning-fast reflexes. The very rock sizzles and melts, a pool of highly corrosive acid left in its wake. He admits to himself that this boss is tougher than he initially thought. The iguana brings its massive body down in a crushing blow, but Lin Yuan just leaps away with a smirk. A real challenge just makes things more exciting. With a flick of his wrist, he calls upon another of his powerful undead. The vulture thief lord appears, a winged warrior wreathed in ghostly green light. It dives straight into the fray, its twin blades clashing against the monster's hide. The undead lord becomes a blur, relentlessly striking the colossal beast. Han Qing can't believe his eyes. Is this another one of Lin Yuan's new followers? His shock melts away into pure, star-struck admiration at the majestic sight. The Vulture Lord swoops around the massive iguana, looking for its next opening. The Vulture Lord activates its skill, Backstab, aiming for a decisive blow. But the iguana instantly reacts, throwing up an impenetrable fortress to bolster its defense. It whips its massive tail around in a vicious counterattack. "Watch out!" Lin Yuan cries, seeing the danger. The undead lord just barely evades the crushing blow, the attack slamming into the ground. Han Qing is stunned by the monster's impossible reaction time, wondering if it has eyes on its back. Lin Yuan, however, watches the exchange with a knowing look, already analyzing the situation. He's not just fighting, he's dissecting his opponent's biology. He knows lizards have simple eyes that struggle to perceive stationary objects, but their motion, vision, hearing, and smell are extraordinarily sensitive. This extreme sensitivity is precisely the weakness Lin Yuan plans to exploit. A smirk crosses his face. If it's so easily provoked, hell, just make it entrap itself. The iron-eating iguana roars, still thrashing wildly in a blind rage. So Lin Yuan puts on a show, challenging its tough scales against his flashy fireballs. He immediately turns and flees, baiting the colossal beast into a reckless chase. His spells glance harmlessly off its hide, which is exactly what he expected. The goal isn't to do damage, but to keep the monster completely fixated on him. From a safe distance, Han Qing screams out, certain he's in mortal danger. She knows a boss monster's defense is too strong. This looks like a suicide mission. But then she sees his destination, and her panic instantly turns to stunned realization. She finally understands his plan. He's leading it straight to that pile of undead. The corpses of the iron-eater lizards he'd slain earlier, now reanimated and waiting. Lin Yuan sprints directly towards his macabre trap, the iguana thundering right behind him. He dives between his undead minions, a hair's breadth from their snapping jaws. With a confident smirk, he knows the perfect moment has arrived. He plants his foot and pivots sharply, sliding out of the way at the last possible second. The charging iguana, too fast and clumsy to stop, plows directly into the cluster of undead. He can't help but mock the big dummy for its reckless, uncontrolled charge. Trapped and enraged, the boss monster lets out a furious, helpless roar. And with that, Lin Yuan activates his skill Corpse Explosion Art, unleashing a devastating chain reaction. The explosion pays off, and with a confident glint in his eye, Lin Yuan confirms the armor has been breached. Staggering from the blast, the iron-eating iguana lets out a pained, furious roar. But Lin Yuan gives it no time to recover, kicking off the ground with explosive force. His vulture lord directs him from the sky, telling him to strike from the left. He lands with a sharp pivot, a phantom of motion on the battlefield. The iguana's massive claw slams down, missing him by a hair's breadth. He's figured it out. The beast has a weak point, unable to focus on two sides at once. On the opposite flank, his undead summon prepares its own deadly assault. The vulture lord lunges, its massive claws raking across the iguana's side. With the monster completely distracted, Lin Yuan descends from above for the final blow. Reflected in the beast's eye, Lin Yuan descends, promising this one strike will be its last. He unleashes a blinding column of power, a final judgment for the monstrous creature. The attack slams home a perfect weak point hit right down its gullet. With the boss defeated, a flood of notifications confirms his success. He's now level 14. But a few minutes later, the cavern glows with an eerie green light as the iguana's health rapidly restores. Lin Yuan is using Dark Curse, not to deal damage, but to mend his brand new undead servant. He notes with satisfaction that another skill scroll will push Dark Curse to level 4. Sacrificing his lesser undead for this prize was a trade he'd make any day. Its eyes snap open, no longer filled with rage, but with the cold, empty light of a necromancer's puppet. From now on, Lin Yuan declares, this colossal beast will serve as his shield. While Han Qing sits in a mountain of loot, absolutely stunned by their massive haul, Lin Yuan interrupts, his gaze fixed elsewhere. He tells him not to celebrate just yet. There are still rats to kill. He's referring, of course, to the other party, who have just finished clearing their own mobs. Their leader, Zhao Kui, scoffs at the pathetic monsters, deeming them unworthy of his attention. His subordinates eagerly praise his strength, suggesting they go steal the boss loot now that the other fight is over. But Lin Yuan has already set his trap, a single, decisive stomp on a nearby corpse. As the arrogant trio moves in to collect the corpses, they walk right into the lion's den. The ground suddenly erupts beneath them in a violent explosion of crystalline shards. The ambush is sprung perfectly, catching the entire squad completely by surprise. Enraged and trapped, Zhao Kui roars, demanding to know who dares to ambush the Black Tree Guild. And from the settling dust, a figure calmly walks into view. Lin Yuan emerges, explaining he wasn't collecting corpses, he came to collect them. Zhao Kui's men are in disbelief, sputtering that they were supposed to be dead, devoured by the iguanas. Han Qing furiously points an accusing finger, disgusted that the Black Tree Guild would use players as bait. But his subordinate just scoffs, sneering that it's an honor for scum to die for their guild's glory. Zhao Kui glares, annoyed they survived, figuring they just got lucky while other poor souls took the heat. Disgusted by their shamelessness, Han Qing can barely contain her rage. The more Zhao Kui looks at this kid, the more annoyed he gets. It's time to put him down for good. He dismisses their survival as a ridiculous stroke of luck. But now, as his man swings a heavy flail, he roars that their lucky streak is officially over. The massive flail comes crashing down, but Lin Yuan is faster, shoving Han Qing out of harm's way. He meets the brute's gaze, his own eyes glowing, mocking the idea that this oaf could handle them alone. With a grunt, the warrior puts his full weight into the swing, aiming to crush him. But Lin Yuan dances away, the heavy weapon only managing to shatter the ground where he just stood. He lands perfectly, sword held high, ready to turn the tables in an instant. The flail user just scoffs, thinking this is all some kind of pathetic little show. That is, until a torrent of spectral green skulls erupts from Lin Yuan's very being. The warrior is completely blindsided as the ghostly swarm engulfs him in a flash of green light. A thick, eerie smoke suddenly blankets the entire area after the impact. Frustrated and confused, the warrior scans the fog, wondering where his target vanished. But Lin Yuan was never the target, he was the trap, easily parrying the attack from the real foe, Zhao Kui. He scoffs that those who live by luck alone are destined for an early grave. With a single plunge of his sword, he completely dispels the magical smoke. He stands alone, musing that such people must always sleep with one eye open. A dark memory flashes through his mind, a reminder of what happens to the weak. But in that brief moment of reflection, his instincts scream a warning, because for scum like them, their worthless lives can end at any moment. The flail user appears from nowhere, bringing his weapon down for a fatal blow. Watching from a distance, Han Qing can only scream his name in absolute horror. But two more of Zhao Kui's lackeys step forward, blocking her path and telling her it's their turn now. But Lin Yuan just looks up, completely unimpressed, stating he doesn't have time to play games. The flail user roars, telling him to get on the ground and accept his death. But the killing blow never lands. The chain stops dead in its tracks. Lin Yuan's hand is wrapped around it, his grip like solid steel. The attacker's arrogant grin vanishes, replaced by pure, unadulterated shock. A wicked smile spreads across Lin Yuan's face. He muses that he now has a rough idea of the power level of the Black Tree Guild's third team, and with that single, effortless motion, he stops the entire assault cold. A sharp crack echoes as Lin Yuan's grip tightens, shattering bone. The hunter has just become the prey, and his eyes glow with a predator's light. With a flash of green energy, Lin Yuan follows up with a devastating kick, sending the man flying. The flail user crashes hard into the ground, his two subordinates watching in disbelief. Coughing, the attacker glares up, admitting through gritted teeth that he badly underestimated his opponent. His humiliation quickly boils over into fury as he screams for his allies to attack together. Snapping out of their stupor, his teammates roar in agreement, ready to overwhelm this lone fighter. The three of them leap into the air, launching a coordinated assault from all sides. But Lin Yuan just looks up, a cold smirk on his face. In his eyes, rabble is still rabble. A massive wave of icy power erupts from the ground, blasting the trio back before they can even land. They're thrown into the air, their confident charge turning into a panicked, helpless tumble. And just as they try to recover, a horde of undead monsters materializes, swarming them in a storm of claws and wings. The captain's eyes widen in horror, realizing he's facing something far beyond a normal summoner. But it's too late for regrets as Lin Yuan unleashes a new spell, sending a volley of screaming, spectral skulls flying forward. The ethereal projectiles slam into the warrior with devastating force, blasting him off his feet. His body crashes to the ground while Lin Yuan's undead vultures pin his limbs, leaving him completely helpless. With a boot planted firmly on his back, Lin Yuan stands over the defeated captain, a silent victor. The man desperately tries to save himself, warning Lin Yuan that the Black Tree Guild is not an enemy he wants to make. Lin Yuan's cold red eyes show absolutely no fear. He couldn't care less about some third-rate guild's empty threats. Suddenly, the tense atmosphere is shattered by Han Qing, who clings to him, gushing about how he was never worried. But our hero is having none of it, immediately shoving the clingy knight away with pure annoyance. Looming over the captain, Lin Yuan points out that the Black Tree Guild is notoriously harsh, even to its own. The warrior finally breaks, admitting defeat and desperately asking what it will take to be left alone. A smirk plays on Lin Yuan's lips as he makes his demand. A complete list of the guild's high-ranking players. His mind races, recalling the mysterious first follower from his past life, a powerful user of unknown skills he's been hunting for. Zhao Kui is utterly confused by the strange request, questioning why he would want a simple name list. Lin Yuan has no patience for questions, slamming a blast of energy onto the man's hand, causing him to scream in pain. With his sword pinning the captain's bleeding hand, He asks one last time if he'll write it, and the man immediately surrenders. He quickly scans the freshly written scroll, noting that while there are experts, none match the first follower's profile. Surrounded by undead, the defeated captain cautiously asks if they can finally be let go now. Lin Yuan turns back with a chilling smile, telling the captain that he can go, leaving the fate of his men hanging in the air. Overwhelmed with relief, Zhao Kui thanks him profusely, believing he's actually been spared. But Lin Yuan's promise was a lie. He declares that their crimes against other players demand an explanation. With a single gesture, the entire party is vaporized, their gear clattering to the ground as loot drops. He picks up a new berserker dance sword, inspecting his prize with a thoughtful gaze. Suddenly, Han Qing runs up to him, excitedly holding out a treasure chest their party found. Lin Yuan reaches for it, casually saying he'll pick first, but she immediately objects. She insists she can't just take advantage of his help and offers to buy the contents from him instead. A faint smile crosses his face as he simply agrees to her terms. After a quick glance, he deems nothing inside suitable for him and lets her have it all, accepting a tidy sum of 54 gold coins. Now outside the molten bloodscale cavern, he muses that it's all just silver-tier gear. Finding gold-tier equipment is never easy. But as they part ways, Han Qing stops him, a look of serious concern on her face. She warns him that the Black Tree Guild is known for taking revenge in the real world. Lin Yuan just scoffs, dismissing them as mere insects before casually waving goodbye. Back in reality, he logs out of the game as a voice calls him to come and eat. He gets up from his high-tech gaming setup, leaving the virtual world behind. Stepping toward his bedroom door, he reaches for the handle without a second thought. But the moment it opens, he's confronted by a tall, menacing figure in a suit. His calm demeanor shatters, replaced by pure, unfiltered shock. The mysterious man in the helmet simply looms over him in the hallway, silent and imposing. Finally, the stranger raises a hand to his head, a gesture of frustration or perhaps something far worse. But the imposing figure is just his father, awkwardly presenting a brand new gaming helmet. Lin Yuan, still reeling, asks why he suddenly bought it, confirming it seems to work fine. His dad fumbles for an excuse, claiming his mother found it while cleaning his sister's room. The mention of his sister, Lin Tan, sends a jolt through him, a memory of her future power awakening. His mother's voice cuts through his thoughts, calling the two of them to come and eat. As the sun sets over the city, a warm family dinner begins, a stark contrast to the battles he just left. His mom playfully teases his dad for spending all afternoon trying to figure out the helmet just to connect with him. But for Lin Yuan, a plan is forming. He can use the game to repay his parents and prepare them for the coming apocalypse. He looks up with newfound resolve, declaring he'll buy 2 more helmets so they can all play together. His mother worries about the expense, but he brushes it off, asking a crucial question. Where is little Tan? His mom brushes it off, saying it's Friday and she's probably with friends. But Lin Yuan immediately pulls out his phone to call. The line doesn't even ring, going straight to an automated message that the user is unavailable. A cold feeling creeps in. He knows his sister, and she would never just ignore his call without at least sending a message. His mother tells him to just eat first, assuming little Tan is probably having dinner out with her friends. But Lin Yuan can't shake the bad feeling, abruptly standing up and making an excuse about needing to buy something. As he leaves, his parents watch him go, hoping the two siblings can mend their distant relationship. He heads down the stairs, his expression grim, a sense of urgency pushing him forward. And there, slumped against their apartment door, is his sister Lin Tan, looking disheveled and hurt. He stops dead in his tracks, the cup noodles he bought as an alibi feeling suddenly ridiculous. All he can do is stare, utterly shocked, as he asks what in the world happened to her. She warns him it's none of his business, ordering him not to tell their parents or call the police. And with a sharp slam of the door, she's gone, leaving him alone in the hallway. Lin Yuan stands there, the cup noodles forgotten in his hand as a dark realization begins to dawn. His mind flashes back to his past life, remembering a powerful and mysterious group, the System Organization. It was led by a so-called prophet who could sense the system's chosen few and send out invitations. In the game, their power grew at an impossible rate, making them an invincible force. But their influence bled into the real world, their actions unpredictable yet sometimes strangely heroic. He remembers now little Tan was invited to join them, taking on dangerous missions she never spoke of. Staring at her closed door, a cold dread fills him as he connects her bruises to that very organization. He quietly pushes her door open, his eyes glowing with intensity, determined to find the truth. He makes a silent vow. Even if it is the System Organization, this time, he absolutely will not let his sister get dragged into their schemes again. With that grim promise, he heads out into the city streets, a predator on the hunt. And just as he suspected, His gaze locks onto something familiar. It's a quiet little tea shop, the perfect place for a secret meeting. He ducks behind a pillar, peering through the glass to confirm his fears. Just as he thought little Tan is in there with them, but he's too far to hear and can't risk being seen. Time for a more direct approach. He recalls an old skill, focusing his energy to activate stealth. His body shimmers and fades from view. His level 3 stealth only gives him a tight 5-minute window. Now, completely unseen, he silently approaches the entrance and comes to a halt. Inside, his invisibility holds perfectly as he gets a clear view of the table. A man named Hao Chen is giving a grand speech, trying to recruit a very intimidated Lin Tan. He warns of a catastrophe coming in 3 years, painting his group as the world's only hope. The weight of his words leaves Lin Tan completely stunned and silent. But from the shadows, Lin Yuan listens intently, his mind racing to understand their game. The other man, Xiao Pan, casually tells Hao Chen to tone down his terrifying aura. Hao Chen dismisses the joke, dead serious, that this is for Lin Tan's own protection. He leans in, his voice low, about to deliver the final, crucial point of his argument. But he stops dead, his gaze fixed on the empty space where Lin Yuan stands. The air crackles with tension as the recruiter's eyes meet the invisible intruders. Without a word, Hao Chen activates a skill from his ring Dispel. The world ripples and distorts as the anti-stealth wave washes over the cafe. Lin Yuan is caught, a system alert warning him his cover will be blown in 3 seconds. Hao Chen's eyes narrow, a flicker of confirmation in his gaze. He found him. But 3 seconds is an eternity for our boy, who's already bolting for the nearest exit. To avoid a scene, Hao Chen casually turns to the counter and orders another tea to go. The unsuspecting shopkeeper just smiles and prepares the drink. Lin Yuan ducks behind a wall just as his stealth shatters, heart pounding from the close call. Hao Chen calmly takes a sip, acting as if nothing at all just happened. He then leaves a card for Lin Tan, telling her to call when she's ready to fight for justice. Clutching the card, Lin Tan steals her resolve. As they leave, Hao Chen calls back with a smug grin, promising he'll be waiting for her. But someone else is already on the move. Lin Yuan activates his stealth skill. He glides past the completely oblivious shopkeeper, a ghost in his own shop. Making it outside, he thinks he's in the clear, but his pursuers are still nearby. Then, a rookie mistake, he accidentally kicks a discarded cup on the ground. Lin Yuan freezes, his heart sinking as he realizes what he's just done. The dark liquid splashes violently, a clear disturbance in empty space. Hao Chen stops dead in his tracks, a knowing look on his face. Just as he suspected, and to make matters worse, a system alert pops up. Lin Yuan's stealth is about to end. Time is up. As his stealth flickers away, Lin Yuan is exposed for a split second, but Hao Chen just misses it, taking a final step past the kicked cup. He looks around, seeing nothing, and the two of them continue on their way. Chalking it up to paranoia, Hao Chen tells himself he's just been too on edge lately. Xiao Pan teases him, more interested in whether the girl they're after will join them. Hao Chen is confident, stating that the seer's prophecy has never been wrong. From the safety of a nearby rooftop, Lin Yuan watches them disappear into the crowd. He reflects on the encounter. That group is far more dangerous than he ever imagined. If his forbidden ability is exposed, he'll have no place in the immortal world to come. Meanwhile, somewhere else, the very girl from the prophecy holds a mysterious card. His sister, Lin Tan, is standing outside, her expression unreadable as she stares at her phone. But her solitude is broken as she looks up, completely stunned to see who's approaching. It's Lin Yuan, casually holding a bag of takeout, saying he was just passing by. She turns away, flustered, trying to brush off his concern. He insists, explaining that he bought food so their mom wouldn't have to cook so late. He simply tells her it's time to go, leaving her to wonder at this sudden change in him. With a simple word, he leads the way back home. Lin Tan follows, still processing this new, considerate side of her brother. They walk in the door to their mother's worried questions, but Lin Tan just brushes past, heading for her room. Their mom then turns to Lin Yuan, offering to cook, completely unaware of the subtle shift in her children's dynamic. Back in her room, Lin Tan shuts the door, finally alone with her thoughts. She lets out a heavy sigh, the strange events of the day weighing on her. What has been happening lately? Her mind is a mess as she walks towards her bed. Lying down, she realizes that ever since starting that game, her life has been spiraling into chaos. Her memory flashes back to a terrifying moment, her friend screaming for her to run and save herself. Lin Tan could only look back, her avatar frozen in fear, as her party leader held the line. The monster was a level 5 long-bladed mantis, far stronger than they ever anticipated. Its scythes came down in a blur of green light, a deadly dance aimed right at her. But her friend's eyes burned with resolve, shouting that she would block the attack. As the frontline fighter, she refused to let her comrades die, raising her sword for a final stand. With a final war cry, the warrior leader charged headfirst into the swarm of mantises. Her sword met the monster's scythe with a deafening clang, the impact shaking the very ground. But raw strength wasn't enough. The creature's power was overwhelming, pushing her back relentlessly. A brutal, sweeping strike sent her flying, a scream torn from her lips as the blow connected. Yet, in that moment of near death, a system notification appeared. A hidden ability had just been unlocked. As the power began to awaken, she coughed, still surrounded by the predatory insects. Finding a new well of strength, she gripped her sword, her resolve hardening like steel. She erupted in a whirlwind of slashes, deflecting every incoming blade with impossible speed. Her own eyes widened in shock at the power coursing through her, a desperate, last-second miracle. The assault finally broke, leaving her panting on a cliff's edge, momentarily safe from the swarm below. Her newfound power awakens, manifesting as the legendary Sword of Dawn. But the feeling is too real, and back in her room, she can feel her physical body changing too. She wonders if this power will truly be enough to protect everyone when the disaster strikes. A faint blue aura shimmers around her hand, proof that the game's rules no longer apply. If a power like this might not be enough, she thinks with dread, what chance does anyone else have? Sitting at her desk, her resolve hardens into a single, unshakable purpose. She picks up a photo of her family, her reason for fighting staring back at her. For them, she must become stronger, and she must do it as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, Lin Yuan shares the same sentiment, knowing he can't delay moving his family any longer. He's determined to give them a better, safer life, starting now. Wasting no time, Lin Yuan steps into a high-end real estate office, immediately greeted by an agent. He gets straight to business, requesting a luxury villa with the best security money can buy. The agent gives him a sideways glance, thinking he looks way too young to afford anything here, and gently tries to warn him about the prices. But Lin Yuan just smirks, pulling out a sleek black card, certain that its contents will shut down any doubts. Her professional composure shatters the moment she lays eyes on it. In an instant, her skepticism vanishes, replaced by pure awe. This is an exclusive VIP card, a symbol of unimaginable wealth. The entire staff immediately snaps to attention, welcoming their new owner with the utmost sincerity. A short while later, he stands with his parents, who look on in total disbelief. His father struggles to find the words, asking if this incredible mansion is really their new home. His mother is utterly speechless, staring at a private swimming pool that looks like something straight out of a movie. His father wanders into the master bedroom, absolutely floored by the sheer size of everything. The two of them are still trying to process the opulence of their new home, looking like lost tourists in a palace. But the shock gives way to parental concern, and they ask Lin Yuan how he could possibly afford the mortgage. He calmly reassures them, explaining there's no debt. He bought it outright with his earnings from the game. Overcome with emotion, his parents embrace, realizing their son has truly become a man capable of supporting them. Lin Yuan watches them, a quiet satisfaction in his eyes. This was the whole point. Later, walking through an alley, his thoughts turn to the future he needs, to get his parents into the game to prepare them. But his train of thought is violently derailed as his senses scream, alerting him to sudden danger. He looks up to find his path blocked by a group of shadowy figures, who claim they've been waiting for him. A gang of local toughs, armed with pipes and bats, sneer at him, smugly announcing that he wasn't easy to find. Lin Yuan's eyes narrow as he recognizes the lead thug's face. It's the Black Tree Guild leader had already eliminated once before. The thugs stomp forward, eager for a fight. They charge in, mocking him, assuming his in-game prowess means nothing in the real world. One of them swings a heavy pipe right down at his head, screaming about defending his master's honor. But a system window only he can see activates his stealth skill. He just smirks. Far too slow. The pipe crashes into empty air, shattering the pavement where Lin Yuan just stood, leaving the thug completely baffled. Before they can react, he's already a blur, weaving through their ranks like a phantom. A flash of light erupts as his palm connects with the first thug's jaw, sending him flying. It's not a fight, it's a complete demolition, each precise strike taking down another goon. The leader lies broken on the ground, spitting blood, his mind unable to process what just happened. Was he fighting a human or a ghost? With the leader pinned, Lin Yuan presses the steel pipe down, cracking the very concrete beneath him. His eyes glow a menacing red as he muses that these sticky leeches just don't seem to value their lives. The thug's bravado evaporates into pure terror, and he starts begging, pleading that he's still useful and knows a hidden quest. A flicker of interest crosses Lin Yuan's face. He simply tells him to continue talking. The man spills everything, babbling about a blacksmith in the main city who can craft golden gear after enough favor quests. Lin Yuan's mind races. He remembers a rumor from his past life about this exact thing. So the man isn't lying, but that doesn't mean he's forgiven. To make his point crystal clear, he tightens his grip on the steel pipe. He warns the thug that he has many ways to deal with him, and if he ever dares to touch his family, with a sickening groan of metal, he bends the pipe, showing him exactly what his fate will be. The message is received. The thug can only sweat and stammer his understanding, his spirit completely shattered. With his business concluded, Lin Yuan logs back into the game, appearing in a bustling tavern. He's here to meet someone, and they celebrate their new partnership with a hearty drink. Over a hot meal, they get down to business. The blacksmith scoffs, finding it hard to believe a clean-looking kid like him could provide 100 pieces of ore. But he confirms the rumor, bring the ore, and hell craft a weapon for free. So, the thug wasn't lying. Just as Lin Yuan plans his next move, a commotion breaks out nearby as a man grabs a fleeing woman. She desperately tries to pull away, pleading with him to leave her alone. Lin Yuan watches the scene unfold, his expression turning cold and impassive. The brute finally notices him staring and threatens to gouge his eyes out for looking. A fatal mistake. Lin Yuan responds instantly, a blur of motion as he unleashes a devastating attack. The woman he just saved is practically melting, offering him a drink for his troubles. But Lin Yuan is already walking away, completely uninterested in her advances. She desperately latches onto him, refusing to let her handsome savior just leave. In her eagerness, she trips over her own feet, losing her balance completely. A flash of pure annoyance crosses Lin Yuan's face. He does not have time for this. Still, he catches her instinctively, dipping her in a surprisingly graceful motion. Oh, she thinks, he likes to dance. Her eyes sparkle with a total misunderstanding. Meanwhile, Lin Yuan is just thinking about what a complete and utter nuisance she is. He finds the nearest room, kicking the door open without a second thought, and unceremoniously dumps her on the bed, finally free of the distraction. With that annoyance handled, Lin Yuan finally arrives at his destination, the poisonous serpent mine. He's not here to swing a pickaxe himself, of course. He has minions for that. His 12 undead human dogs are perfect for this kind of manual labor, gathering materials at an incredible pace. But just as he's calculating his profits, a sudden noise alerts him to an unwelcome interruption. A pack of angry-looking raging moles bursts from the tunnels, ready to attack. Lin Yuan sighs, summoning a massive spectral scorpion and giving a simple, bored command to finish them all. The scorpion lunges forward, a blur of green energy and sharp claws, tearing through the pack. In an instant, the so-called raging moles are nothing more than defeated heaps on the cavern floor. But for Lin Yuan, this isn't just pest control. It's an opportunity to expand his arsenal. With a flash of dark magic, the fallen moles are resurrected, becoming the newest additions to his undead army. But his work is cut short by a massive explosion echoing through the mine. Lin Yuan whips around, his eyes widening in disbelief at the sudden chaos. A hulking beast, a horned bear-like creature, crashes through the tunnels with a roar. The system identifies it as the Raging Mole Boss, a level 16 monster. He instantly realizes this isn't a random spawn. Someone is deliberately luring monsters. Suddenly, a brilliant golden staff flashes with divine light from the darkness. A beam of energy slams into the boss, not to kill it, but to provoke it further. The attack guides the enraged beast, pushing it directly towards Lin Yuan's position. Like a homing missile, the golden light curves through the air and locks onto him, revealing he was the true target all along. But instead of an attack, a holy shield envelops him, a support skill from a priest. Nearby, another player notices the commotion, recognizing the priest from a top guild. Smirking, he releases a mechanical spy fly, eager to record the unfolding chaos. The priest, now clearly in over his head, screams for his ally to run, revealing he's live-streaming the whole disaster. Lin Yuan, however, is completely unfazed, amused that this loyal player has delivered a boss right to his doorstep. Suddenly, the stream's viewer count explodes as people recognize the legendary player who soloed the world boss. The enraged mole boss closes in, letting out a deafening roar as it lunges for the terrified priest. But just as its claws are about to connect, Lin Yuan appears, effortlessly blocking the massive blow with an ice shield. The priest turns, his face a mask of pure shock, staring at the man he was hired to kill. Miles away, the thug leader and his crew watch the whole scene play out on a holographic screen, their perfect plan crumbling. The thug leader can only watch, admitting to himself there's no shame in being defeated by such a monster. Just then, his men overhear another group of players buzzing about the great master Lin Yuan. A bald player among them smirks, having also seen the livestream and become an instant fan. He loudly declares that the so-called raging god is nothing but a product of his guild, unlike the truly skilled Lin Yuan. Bad move. A man with a fur collar, Nguyen of the Rage Guild, turns with a look that could kill. The provocateur just grins, showing him the live comments, pointing out that everyone thinks the raging god should step down. In a flash, a cold blade is pressed against the bald man's throat, but he doesn't even flinch, taunting Nguyen that his anger is pointless when the whole world is saying it. He leans in with a chilling smirk, whispering that when heroes fall, villains get their turn on stage. Nguyen's fury solidifies into cold purpose. He confirms Lin Yuan is still in the mine, a new hunt about to begin. With his target confirmed, Nguyen roars out the command, mobilizing every available Rage Guild member for the hunt. Meanwhile, the man they're hunting is putting on a clinic, weaving through a flurry of attacks from the raging mole boss. He calmly tells the stunned priest he lured the monster for that he can leave now. All the aggro is on him, and he's not wrong. The beast's eyes burn with pure hatred, its entire focus now locked onto Lin Yuan. With a furious roar, it brings its massive claws down, aiming to pulverize him into the cave floor. But Lin Yuan is already gone, a blur of motion as the ground shatters right where he once stood. His eyes flash a brilliant teal as he unleashes a powerful torrent of water magic, a skill no one has seen from him before. The attack connects, and his livestream viewers absolutely lose their minds, praising his godlike control and speed. The enraged boss smashes the ground again in frustration, its raw power cracking the very stone beneath it. Yet Lin Yuan flows beneath the attack, completely unfazed, a silent predator dancing with a rampaging god. And then, another new skill, a pack of spectral wolves erupts from nowhere, swarming the giant beast. The raging mole boss is completely blindsided, roaring as the phantom hounds tear into it from every angle. As it flails, a cold voice points out its fatal mistake, focusing only on what's in front. Lin Yuan coolly adds that it's a lesson the monster won't live long enough to appreciate. Before the boss can even process the words, he's already behind it, sinking his blade deep into its neck. The creature screams in pure agony, blood erupting from the devastating wound. But Lin Yuan gives it no quarter, leaping high into the air for a final, decisive strike. His sword plunges straight down, piercing the monster's skull with brutal, unforgiving force. He lands with an almost casual grace, his expression utterly calm and in control. A faint, chilling smirk plays on his lips as he prepares to deliver the final blow. With a final, devastating slash, he drives his blade straight through the monster's skull. The raging mole boss dissolves, leaving behind a shower of loot and a satisfying level-up notification. He scores a new silver-grade dagger and some boots, both boosting his already insane agility. But his victory attracts unwanted attention. A priest rushes over, completely starstruck by his legendary skill. Lin Yuan has no time for fans and tries to brush him off, but the man is annoyingly persistent. Suddenly, a fireball comes screaming out of the darkness, aimed right for them. Without even flinching, Lin Yuan unleashes a blindingly fast counter-slash. His blade cuts through the air, effortlessly deflecting the magical projectile. But the priest just smirks. It was all a setup, a lure to draw him into an ambush. From the shadows, a whole party emerges, led by a man who promises to test if the priest can recognize him as Ash. This is the Rage Guild, and they're here to defend the honor of their leader, the so-called Raging God. Lin Yuan is practically bored, thinking they've just handed him a perfect excuse to go all out, and the system agrees. The priest suddenly gets uncomfortably close, raising his staff with a dramatic flair. He starts monologuing about bonds and massacre, but Lin Yuan just wonders who this weirdo is, and tells him to move. Their leader, Nguyen, steps up with a smug grin, ready to lecture Lin Yuan on the might of his guild. But before he can even finish his sentence, Lin Yuan's hand is already a blur. A sharp crack echoes through the cave as Nguyen is sent spinning through the air from a vicious backhand. He crashes to the ground as the livestream chat absolutely explodes with disbelief and mockery. Nguyen clutches his face, utterly humiliated that some guildless nobody dared to strike him. Seething with pure rage, he screams at his guildmates to finish him off. With the order given, the Rage Guild members surge forward in a coordinated assault. They're screaming with confidence, absolutely certain that their numbers will overwhelm him. But Lin Yuan just scoffs at their simple formation and decides to target their backline first. He activates his stealth skill, vanishing into thin air and leaving the frontliners swinging at nothing. The guild members panic, shouting for their mages to cast a dispel spell immediately. But their casting time is a death sentence. A chilling voice whispers from behind them that it's too late. Before they can even process the shock, he's already behind them, a blur of deadly intent. Another member tries to rally the troops, foolishly assuming Lin Yuan must be out of health and mana. Spurred on by the promise of a massive reward, the entire mob charges forward for the kill. but their reckless charge is met with a whirlwind of steel as fireballs rain down from their own mages. Lin Yuan remains completely unfazed, noting how the narrow tunnels make it easy to wipe them out. He calmly eyes the incoming spells, not even bothering to dodge. The guild members mock him from a distance, sarcastically wishing him luck against their pincer attack. A massive explosion engulfs the area, kicking up a huge cloud of dust and smoke. When the view clears, they see him fleeing into a nearby cavern, convinced he's exhausted. "Don't let him escape," they roar, greedily giving chase into the dark tunnel. One of the pursuers smirks, thinking he's cornered his prey, only to find Lin Yuan waiting for him on the ceiling. The hunter's smug grin instantly vanishes as he realizes the fish he was about to catch was actually the bait. With a vicious stomp, Lin Yuan crashes down from above, shattering the man's chest plate. The guild member lets out a strangled cry, his face contorted in agony. He's sent flying like a rag doll, tumbling helplessly across the cavern floor. Picking himself up, he has the audacity to call the surprise attack despicable. But Lin Yuan is already on him, grabbing a fistful of hair and pressing a cold blade to his throat. The tough guy act shatters instantly as he screams for his allies to come save him. Lin Yuan leans in close, whispering that his friends won't be coming back. Just then, the reinforcements arrive, only to see the glowing corpses of their comrades ahead. A system alert flashes as a storm of teal energy erupts, consuming the entire cavern. Noyan can only scream in disbelief, demanding to know what Lin Yuan has done to his guild. With a cold smirk, Lin Yuan tells him to go ask his fallen comrades himself. One clean strike ends it, a move so decisive the entire stream erupts, calling Noyan a fool. The guild leader shatters into particles of light, his ambush ending in his own pathetic demise. And what a bonus, a gold-tier weapon drops, complete with a lifesteal skill. He has to grab it and go. With the dungeon cleared, Lin Yuan makes his way to the local blacksmith's forge. The craftsman, thoroughly impressed by the ores, takes back his earlier words and offers his friendship. Now, for the loot, selling off an entire guild's worth of gear will be profitable, but tricky. But that's a side quest. His real goal is to hunt down his first follower using the clues he's gathered. He recalls a follower from his past life who controlled snakes, realizing the sewers hold the key. Without hesitation, Lin Yuan descends into the dark, sprawling network of pipes beneath the city. The official quest is just a cover. His real goal is the hidden dungeon he knows is lurking here. This dungeon drops a rare, permanent stat-boosting item, and he has to claim it before word gets out. He navigates the familiar layout, searching for the one room that will lead him to the entrance. A glint of recognition in his eyes, he's found it. Suddenly, the water erupts in a violent explosion of force. He's thrown back, completely caught off guard. The snakes here are far larger than he remembers. A colossal armored beast emerges. The level 60 underworld king serpent, a monster he never expected to see. He can't believe it. This is a creation of the serpentman, but its level is absurdly high for this area. No time to think. He immediately activates stealth, knowing a death here would be a catastrophic loss. But against a field boss of this caliber, his signature skill is completely useless. With his cover blown, he switches tactics, deciding to use the tight terrain to his advantage. He dashes along the massive stone walls, putting as much distance as he can between himself and the beast. But the serpent is terrifyingly fast, its colossal fangs lunging to snap him out of the air. He narrowly evades being swallowed whole, realizing he can't possibly block a direct hit. The sheer force of the attack sends him hurtling backward through the cavern. Yet even while tumbling, Lin Yuan is already launching his counter, a spectral beast of green energy roaring to life. He decides to fight magic with magic, summoning a massive thunder scorpion to buy some time. A smirk crosses his face. He's certain this powerful summon can handle the serpent. The scorpion clashes with the colossal beast, a storm of energy erupting from the impact. But his confidence is shattered in an instant, as the serpent effortlessly tears through his magical construct. He pants, catching his breath, realizing the sheer, overwhelming difference in power. The underworld king serpent comes crashing down, its immense body shaking the entire cavern. Lin Yuan dives out of the way, just as the ground where he stood is completely pulverized. He lands, his eyes burning with a cold, red light, his focus now absolute. The serpent lets out a furious hiss, its glowing eye locking onto its defiant prey. He scrambles to his feet, the ground still fractured from the serpent's devastating attack. But as he dusts himself off, a confident smirk returns to his face. He realizes he's reached the imperial palace, a sanctuary protected by the great master of the state. The colossal serpent can only hiss in fury, halted by an invisible, absolute power. Lin Yuan recalls the ancient lore. The serpentmen were driven underground by this very kingdom. He knows the beast is strong, but it's no match for the palace's guardian, which means its lair must be nearby. To avoid another high-level encounter, he decides he needs a more subtle approach. With a new plan forming, He heads straight for the city's market district. He easily acquires a serpent luring potion, the perfect bait to draw out the weaker monsters. But just as he's about to set his plan in motion, a voice cuts through the crowd, claiming to have searched the entire city for him. A strange player approaches, and Lin Yuan immediately recognizes him. This is the guy the mine boss was chasing earlier. The man, calling himself son of a bygone year, is annoyingly theatrical, insisting their souls are connected, and sending a friend request. Lin Yuan couldn't be less interested, turning to leave as the guy pitches the idea of fighting monsters together. He's not taking no for an answer, trying to sell Lin Yuan on joining his super trio. The pitch gets even cornier, suggesting they could become the super quartet alongside someone named Lang Yu, and that name stops Lin Yuan cold. Lang Yue, in his past life, he was the leader of the second-best guild in the entire city, a core member of the legendary Order organization. This isn't just a random player, it's a golden ticket. So, with his priorities instantly reshuffled, Lin Yuan accepts the request, promising to party up later and leaving his new friend ecstatic.